Stop scrolling for just a moment. Take a deep breath and allow yourself to consider a powerful possibility. That you're here, right now, feeling the deep ache of separation from someone you thought would always be close. Your mom. Perhaps you've wrestled with the feeling that something precious has been torn from you, that a bond you once relied upon seems distant or unreachable. And yet, what if this distance, this undeniable gap, is not random? What if it is part of a divine design, carefully woven into the fabric of your life, not as a punishment, but as a path to something greater? The pain you carry, the isolation that weighs on your heart, it may not be as meaningless as it feels in your darkest moments. Every tear you've shed, every moment of loneliness, could be a refining fire, sent not to break you down but to shape you for a unique purpose that no one else can fulfill. God may have set you apart, chosen you for something so powerful that it requires a strength and resilience forged only through difficulty. This isn't the path everyone else walks, and maybe it isn't supposed to be. Have you ever considered that every hardship, every painful memory, has been like stepping stones leading you toward a destiny that only God can fully see? When we feel abandoned or misunderstood, it's natural to wonder if there's any purpose in it all. But what if these very struggles are the groundwork for a future that requires a unique type of strength, a strength few can understand, because few have walked this same path? Since childhood, you may have felt a unique distance, a chasm between you and your mother, something so deep, it often seemed unbridgeable. While others around you shared moments of warmth and comfort with their families, perhaps you found yourself standing on the outside, feeling the ache of loneliness and questioning why you felt so alone. It's a feeling that is difficult to explain and even harder to carry, making you wonder if you are somehow unworthy or undeserving of love and acceptance. But what if this distance, this feeling of separation, was never a sign of abandonment or rejection? What if it was instead an indication of something profound, a signal that God has chosen you for a special purpose that requires a path unlike any other? This isn't a punishment. It's preparation. God is not keeping you away from love. He's carving out space for a love far beyond human understanding. He's stripping away earthly distractions to prepare you to fully receive His purpose. Through the absence, He speaks with clarity, drawing you closer to Him. From a young age, you may have sensed that your path was different, marked by a unique calling that set you apart from others. While many around you found their strength and identity within the warmth of family bonds, you felt a deeper pull, a divine nudge guiding you to lean solely on God. This sense of separation may have felt isolating at times, but it was never a mark of weakness or inadequacy. Instead, it was God's way of building a strength in you that could only come through solitude and dependence on Him alone. Think of this isolation as a training ground, much like that of a warrior being prepared for a mission that requires focus, resilience, and unbreakable faith. In solitude, a warrior is stripped of comforts, left with only the essentials, so that strength and skill can be honed without distraction. In the same way, God has allowed this space of separation in your life, removing certain attachments so that you can rely fully on Him. He is stripping away any dependencies that might hinder your calling, ensuring that your faith is anchored firmly in Him. Through this experience, God is teaching you resilience, a deep inner strength that does not waver under pressure. Each moment of solitude becomes a lesson, each challenge a stepping stone, building within you the character and endurance necessary for the higher purpose He has in store. This process may feel isolating, but it is a sacred preparation, a refining season where God is shaping you to stand strong, fully reliant on His guidance and grace. You are being prepared for something extraordinary, something that requires you to walk a path less traveled. God is calling you to trust Him deeply, to find your identity, your strength, and your purpose in Him alone. In this space of separation, He is forming you into someone who can withstand trials, rise above challenges, and fulfill a calling that goes beyond the ordinary. This path may be different, but it is designed with divine intention, preparing you to step into a life marked by purpose and guided by His unfailing hand. The love you've longed for, the family connection you may have envied in others. It's not that God ignored your need. He saw it and chose to fill it Himself with a love that is perfect, unchanging, and unfailing. He needed you free from the limitations of earthly attachment because your calling requires a different kind of strength. Others may find comfort in constant affirmation, but you've been sustained by something deeper, the unshakable power of God's love. Picture yourself on a battlefield, a soldier trained in isolation for a war you may not have fully understood. While others leaned on their mothers, you learned to fight alone. In the emptiness left by human absence, you discovered a divine fullness, a love that doesn't fade, a connection that doesn't break. Every tear, every sleepless night spent questioning your worth. These were all part of a grander plan to prepare you for a strength and resilience others cannot match. Your mother's distance, her absence, was not an accident. Each struggle, each wordless conflict, each cold silence, they were tools, divine chisels breaking away the unnecessary to reveal the masterpiece within. You were not just hurt, you were sharpened. Every argument, every cutting remark, every emotional sabotage was a lesson in standing firm. Through these challenges, God was cultivating within you a resilience that runs deep. He was teaching you not to be easily swayed, preparing you to hold steadfastly to your identity and purpose, even when faced with opposition. The adversity wasn't meant to crush you, but to build within you an unwavering strength and a profound sense of self that could only emerge through the fire. In every hurt, there was a refining, a way to transform the pain into power, the wounds into wisdom, and to reveal the strength God always saw in you. The pain you felt wasn't meant to define you, but to refine you. Your struggles with your mother weren't just personal. They were cosmic clashes, battles between who you are called to be and who the world would have you remain. Perhaps you were wounded by criticism that seemed relentless, by manipulations that twisted your heart, by coldness that left you questioning your worth. These were not random hardships. They were intentional wounds meant to prepare you for a purpose far beyond the ordinary. Through these wounds, God has forged an armor around you. Others may falter under the weight of life's pressures, but you have already endured the furnace's heat, and it has only made you stronger. This is why your path has been different, harder. You were never meant to lean on human validation. God needed you to seek your worth in Him alone. Your identity isn't tied to earthly approval, but is rooted in the Creator who shaped you with divine purpose. The strained words, the unspoken coldness, they were chisels that shaped you, removing parts that would hinder your calling. Through the pain, God was strengthening you, making you resilient, unbreakable. You may have felt abandoned, but in reality, God was present, molding you into a vessel for His work. Every tear, every lonely moment served as a sacred tool, refining you into who you were meant to be. Perhaps you've wondered, why? Why did the relationship with your mother seem so fraught with pain, as if it was destined to leave a lasting ache? The answer, though complex in feeling, is both simple and profound. God never intended for your sense of self, your identity, to be shaped by her approval or acceptance. Her role in your life, with all its imperfections and limitations, was never meant to be the foundation of your worth or the lens through which you see yourself. Instead, her limitations were a divine sign, a reminder of the insufficiency of earthly relationships and of the way human bonds can fall short. Each moment of distance, each unmet need, was gently guiding you toward something far greater, toward Him. God used the limitations in your relationship with your mother to reveal a powerful truth. Human connections, as meaningful as they are, cannot be the ultimate source of our identity or worth. While others may have found their confidence or validation within family bonds, God had a different path in mind for you. He allowed this distance not as punishment, but as preparation. gently leading you to discover that your true value comes from Him alone. He wanted you to know that your identity is firmly rooted in His love, a love that is constant, complete, and unfailing. In those moments when you sought validation from her and were met with disappointment, God was drawing you closer, teaching you to find your security and purpose in Him. This separation is not a mark of failure or loss. It is a sacred invitation to be grounded in something more lasting than any human relationship. God has called you to a unique journey, one that begins with Him and finds its fulfillment in His purpose for your life. Perhaps you've wondered, why? Why did the relationship with your mother seem so fraught with pain, as if it was destined to leave a lasting ache? The answer, though complex in feeling, is both simple and profound. God never intended for your sense of self, your identity, to be shaped by her approval or acceptance. Her role in your life, with all its imperfections and limitations, was never meant to be the foundation of your worth or the lens through which you see yourself. Instead, her limitations were a divine sign, a reminder of the insufficiency of earthly relationships and of the way human bonds can fall short. Each moment of distance, each unmet need, was gently guiding you toward something far greater, toward Him. God used the limitations in your relationship with your mother to reveal a powerful truth. Human connections, as meaningful as they are, cannot be the ultimate source of our identity or worth. While others may have found their confidence or validation within family bonds, God had a different path in mind for you. He allowed this distance not as punishment, but as preparation, gently leading you to discover that your true value comes from Him alone. He wanted you to know that your identity is firmly rooted in His love, a love that is constant, complete, and unfailing. In those moments when you sought validation from her and were met with disappointment, God was drawing you closer, teaching you to find your security and purpose in Him. This separation is not a mark of failure or loss. It is a sacred invitation to be grounded in something more lasting than any human relationship. God has called you to a unique journey, one that begins with Him and finds its fulfillment in His purpose for your life. This separation, this divine pruning, is God's way of preparing you for the next level. It may feel like isolation, but it's the sacred ground where transformation happens. God has stripped away earthly ties that once defined you, removing anything that could limit the purpose He has in mind for you. Every moment of separation, every tear, is a tool in God's hands, shaping you into a vessel strong enough to carry His purpose. Think of yourself as metal, heated and hammered to become unbreakable. This process is not punishment, it's refinement, burning away vulnerabilities that could hinder your mission. The relationships that once defined you, that may have even limited you, are being removed. You are being promoted to a higher calling that demands more from you than you could ever have imagined. In the spaces left by human absence, God's presence becomes undeniable and profoundly comforting. Where earthly love may have faltered, God's love fills every empty corner, reaching into the depths of your heart in ways no human connection ever could. The voids left by relationships that may have fallen short were never meant to remain empty. They are intentional spaces designed for God to fill, to demonstrate that His love alone is all-encompassing and sufficient to meet your every need. God has not allowed this separation or distance to harm you, but has instead used it as an invitation to draw you nearer to Him. The limitations of your earthly mother, her inability to meet every emotional or spiritual need, are not reflections of any inadequacy in you. Rather, they are gentle reminders that your deepest needs were always meant to be fulfilled by your Heavenly Father. The love you seek, the security you crave, and the understanding that often feels elusive are all perfectly found in Him. This separation highlights a sacred truth, that God's role in your life is unique and irreplaceable. Where human relationships are bound by limitations and imperfections, God's love remains unwavering, endlessly patient, and without condition. Through this experience, he is showing you that your worth and identity are rooted in him, not in the validation or understanding of others. In every space where human love could not reach, God's presence grows stronger, filling your life with a love that heals, sustains, and affirms your true value. He is drawing you closer, teaching you to depend on him completely, and showing you that he alone can fulfill the desires of your heart in ways that are eternal, pure, and boundless. God wanted your dependence to be on him alone, not diluted by human affections. Through every tear, every moment of silence, he was building in you a spiritual resilience, a strength that is anchored in an unshakable foundation. This separation isn't a punishment or a mark of failure. It's a divine calling to rely on God alone. You are chosen, set apart, refined through every moment of loneliness and heartache. This separation is proof of your calling. It's a divine preparation, a sacred crucible where God has been molding you into the vessel he needs. Your pain isn't in vain. It's a testimony, a witness to the work God is doing within you. Embrace this truth. Walk boldly in the knowledge that your story is part of a grand design. Let your journey, your growth, be a light for others who feel the weight of separation. In every hardship, trust that God's plan is perfect, that he is using every moment to shape you for a purpose beyond what you can see. Step forward with courage, knowing that you are not defined by the wounds of the past, but by the divine calling that marks your life. Have you ever felt that the events in your life, the highs and lows, the encounters and moments of stillness, were more than mere coincidences? Have you felt a persistent, unshakable calling that whispers to you from the depths of your being, urging you to spread warmth, light, and comfort wherever you go? If you find yourself nodding along or sensing a tingle of recognition, then what I'm about to share might resonate profoundly with your spirit. There's a chance you are an angel in human form. Yes, you hear that correctly. There are signs, subtle, powerful, undeniable, that suggest some among us are angels living within human bodies, destined to illuminate the world with their extraordinary presence. One of the most telling signs of an angelic soul walking the earth is the effect they have on the people around them. Have you ever noticed that when you step into a room, a shift takes place? An almost imperceptible lifting of spirits or an unspoken peace that settles over those present? Angels in human form carry an energy that is gentle yet powerful. Their very essence exudes calm and reassurance, creating a sanctuary where others can find solace from the chaos of life. This unspoken influence can be transformative. Even in the most turbulent of circumstances, their presence can anchor and soothe those nearby. This ability to radiate peace is not just a gift. It is a profound hallmark of those chosen to bring light and comfort to the world. When you find yourself in the presence of such an individual, it feels as though an unseen force wraps you in an invisible blanket of warmth and security. The atmosphere subtly changes, almost as if the very air itself is imbued with a calm, reassuring energy. Conversations naturally soften, the rush of the day's worries quiets, and an unspoken sense of peace settles over everyone nearby. It's not necessarily what they say or do that captures attention. It's the essence they carry, an aura of unconditional acceptance and deep understanding. These individuals exude a presence that feels safe and familiar, drawing people in with a sense of trust that transcends words. In their company, others instinctively feel seen and valued, as if their emotions are not just acknowledged, but gently held. This soothing energy acts like a balm to weary hearts and minds, lifting the heaviness that so many unknowingly carry. It's a transformative experience that resonates deeply, touching the soul and providing a moment of respite from life's challenges. The beauty of this presence is that it operates without fanfare. The person spreading this peace may be silent, simply listening, or just being present, yet their mere existence emanates a comfort that lingers long after they've gone. This is more than a simple act of kindness. It is a reflection of a deeper calling, a testament to the powerful, unspoken influence of those who walk this earth with an inner light meant to illuminate the paths of others. What sets Earth Angels apart is their profound empathy. Their hearts seem to beat not only for themselves but in harmony with the world around them. They are drawn to people's pain, instinctively understanding struggles that might remain hidden to others. This is not empathy as a fleeting emotion. It is a deep, unrelenting force that drives their actions and shapes their existence. Have you found yourself listening to someone's troubles with genuine concern, offering not just empty words but a heartfelt presence? Angels in human form engage in these moments with an authenticity that transforms the experience for the speaker. Their attention is profound. They listen not to reply, not to insert their own story, or provide quick solutions, but to truly understand and empathize. This act of listening creates a safe space where emotions, whether tender or tumultuous, are honored and held without judgment. The ability to be present without any expectation of reciprocity is rare and precious. In a world where conversations often skim the surface, hurried and transactional, these moments of deep listening are gifts of genuine connection. To be seen and heard in this way is healing. It reminds the speaker that they are valued, that their experiences and feelings matter. This presence does not require dramatic gestures. Sometimes, it is the soft nod of understanding, the shared silence that speaks volumes, or the gentle acknowledgement that says, "I'm here with you." These listeners hold space for others, absorbing both joy and sorrow, creating an environment where healing begins. Their empathy is like a bridge, spanning the gap between isolation and belonging. They offer their time and emotional bandwidth not out of obligation, but from a deep-seated belief in the importance of connection. It is through this gift of mindful listening that angels in human form remind us of the power and beauty inherent in truly being there for one another. However, this boundless empathy comes with its own set of challenges. Earth angels often find themselves drawn to individuals who bear deep emotional scars or are struggling with toxic behaviors. Their innate need to heal can sometimes lead them into difficult relationships where they give more than they receive. It is as if they are subconsciously attracted to situations where their light is most needed, believing that their love and patience can mend what is broken. While this mission of compassion is noble and life-affirming, it can also become overwhelmingly draining for those who embody it. Angels in human form, with their boundless empathy and relentless drive to support others, must come to recognize when their giving nature is being taken advantage of or pushed to the limits of their emotional and physical well-being. It is essential for them to understand that while their role in spreading light and healing is an integral part of who they are, it must not come at the cost of their own health and peace. Setting healthy boundaries is not a sign of selfishness, but an act of self-preservation. It ensures that they can sustain their mission in the long term without depleting themselves to a point where their inner light dims. Boundaries allow them to balance their calling with their own needs, replenishing their energy so they can continue to offer the depth of compassion that makes their presence so impactful. These limits are acts of wisdom, teaching others that while kindness is abundant, it should also be mutual and respectful. Angels in human form must learn to listen to their own inner voice, the subtle whispers that tell them when they need to step back and nurture their own spirit. This self-awareness empowers them to engage in their mission without being consumed by it, preserving their ability to bring comfort and support to others. By prioritizing self-care and fostering balanced relationships, they can remain vibrant, strong, and capable of fulfilling their higher purpose while maintaining their own joy and well-being. If you think back to your childhood and recall a sense of wonder that set you apart from your peers, it may be another sign of your angelic nature. While other children might have been caught up in games and toys, did you find yourself captivated by the mysteries of the universe? Did you look up at the night sky and feel a pull, as though the stars held secrets meant for you alone? This early spiritual inclination often marks those who walk the earth with an angelic mission. From a young age, angels in human form are curious about the deeper meanings of existence. They are naturally drawn to nature, feeling an unexplainable connection to its rhythms and beauty. This connection is not something they learn or acquire. It is as inherent to them as breathing. The rustle of leaves, the lapping of water against a shore, or the chorus of birds at dawn. All these stir something ancient within them, a recognition of the sacred harmony that binds all living things. Angels on earth often feel a profound sense of purpose. They may not always know what form this purpose will take, but there is an unyielding desire to help others that propels them forward. This isn't motivated by accolades or recognition. It comes from a place so deep within that to ignore it would be to deny their very nature. Whether through small acts of kindness or grand gestures, they strive to make the world a more compassionate place. This commitment to service manifests in many ways. Perhaps you volunteer at local shelters or donate to causes close to your heart. Maybe you're the one who offers a shoulder to cry on, or a safe space where friends and strangers alike feel heard and valued. Earth angels are driven by a fundamental belief that true happiness and fulfillment are found in lifting others up. Their joy is rooted in knowing that they've made a difference, even if only in a small way. The same qualities that make angels in human form remarkable also make them vulnerable. Their empathy and compassion often draw them to people who need healing, but not all of these encounters are healthy. They may find themselves in relationships with individuals who take more than they give, draining the angel's energy over time. This inclination to be with partners or friends who are emotionally troubled stems from the belief that their love can be a balm for even the deepest wounds. From an early age, angels in human form often display a unique curiosity that sets them apart from their peers. While other children might be content with toys and games, these individuals are captivated by questions that reach beyond the tangible, pondering life's deeper meanings and mysteries. Their hearts are naturally drawn to the splendor of nature, where they feel an unexplainable yet powerful connection. This bond with the earth and its rhythms is not something they develop over time. It is as innate as breathing, woven into the very fabric of their being. To them, the natural world is more than a backdrop. It is a source of profound insight and solace. The gentle rustle of leaves on a breeze, the rhythmic lapping of water against a shore, or the harmonious call of birds at dawn speaks to them on a level that words cannot touch. Each sound, each sight, resonates deeply, stirring something ancient within their souls, a recognition of the sacred, intricate harmony that ties all living things together. This connection is a reminder that life is more than the rush of human activity. It is a dance of subtle balances and unseen threads. In these quiet moments, surrounded by nature, angels in human form often feel an unshakable sense of belonging, as if the universe itself is whispering secrets meant only for them. It is in the embrace of trees, the shimmer of a morning dew, and the vast expanse of a starlit sky that they find both questions and answers, reaffirming their place in the greater tapestry of existence. This enduring bond to nature feeds their spirit, inspiring acts of kindness and compassion rooted in a deep understanding that everything is interconnected. Through this awareness, they cultivate an empathy that extends to all beings, driven by an instinctive desire to nurture, protect, and harmonize with the world around them. If you've ever found yourself approached by strangers who seem eager to share their stories or seek your advice, it might be more than just happenstance. Angels in human form emit an energy that others are instinctively drawn to, a sense of safety and understanding that encourages even the most reserved individuals to open up. There's a quiet wisdom in their eyes and a gentle assurance in their words that make others feel seen and heard. People can sense this special quality, even if they can't quite articulate what it is. Like moths to a flame, they are irresistibly drawn to your presence, seeking guidance, reassurance, or simply the comfort of being near someone whose energy exudes understanding and warmth. This natural magnetism stems not from anything you say, but from who you are, your essence, imbued with compassion and acceptance. There is an unspoken trust that forms effortlessly, a silent acknowledgement that in your company, burdens become lighter and hearts feel safer. This trust is one of the most profound indicators of an angelic nature. It serves as a powerful reminder that even in moments when you are unaware of the effect you have, your light is quietly at work. Your presence weaves unseen threads of connection, creating a web of solace and hope that touches more lives than you might ever know. It is a testament to the unseen impact of simply being, proof that the subtle light you carry has the power to soothe souls and uplift spirits in ways that transcend words. The most striking trait of angels in human form is their authentic and tireless commitment to the well-being of others. Their compassion is not performative, it runs deep, motivating them to act without any expectation of acknowledgement or reward. It could be a quiet gesture, a kind word, a moment of patient listening, or a small act of service that leaves an indelible mark on someone's life. These acts may seem inconsequential in the moment, but are often monumental to those who receive them. An earth angel's compassion naturally extends beyond just people. It embraces all living beings. Their heart is tuned to the well-being of the entire ecosystem, prompting them to advocate passionately for environmental causes, nurture animals, or stand up for those who cannot voice their needs. This expansive empathy stems from an innate understanding of the interconnectedness of all life. They see the delicate, invisible threads that bind existence together, recognizing that every being, no matter how small, plays a vital role in the world's balance. This profound awareness sets earth angels apart, driving them to act not just for the good of humanity, but for the preservation and harmony of the natural world. They understand that to show kindness and care to one part of the whole is to support and uplift all of it. Whether by speaking out against environmental harm, rescuing and caring for animals, or promoting sustainable practices, their actions echo a deep truth. True compassion knows no boundaries, and real change comes when love extends to every corner of creation. Another hallmark of earth angels is their deep, insatiable curiosity about life's mysteries. They are seekers of meaning, constantly driven to uncover the deeper truths that govern the universe. From an early age, they may have pondered profound questions about life, death, and the nature of suffering. This quest is not just an intellectual pursuit. It is a spiritual journey that shapes their worldview and their approach to life. Angels in human form possess a profound need to understand the purpose behind suffering, both their own and that of others. This yearning is not just an attempt to find personal peace, but a deeper desire to provide meaningful guidance and comfort to those around them. Driven by an insatiable curiosity, they delve into spiritual teachings, philosophical frameworks, and metaphysical concepts, seeking truths that go beyond what is seen or easily explained. Surface-level answers do not satisfy them. Instead, they are drawn to the hidden currents of wisdom that life conceals. They ask the hard questions, grapple with existential dilemmas, and ponder the reasons behind adversity, aiming to illuminate the path for themselves and others. This search enriches their empathy, equipping them with insights that resonate deeply when shared. The wisdom they uncover becomes a beacon of hope and understanding, enabling them to support those in pain with a rare depth of compassion and clarity. This pursuit for meaning transforms them into guides and healers, bridging the gap between despair and hope with the knowledge gained from their own soulful exploration. Despite the weight of their empathy and the challenges that come with it, angels in human form possess an extraordinary ability to find joy. They understand that life is not without its hardships, but they choose to focus on the beauty that exists alongside the pain. They cultivate gratitude for the simple moments, the warmth of the sun on their skin, the sound of laughter shared with loved ones, or the peace of a quiet morning. This resilience is not born out of ignorance or naivety, but from a deliberate, conscious choice to nurture and protect their own spirit. Angels in human form understand that true strength comes from cultivating joy, even amidst life's challenges. They recognize that by choosing joy, they replenish their energy, making them better equipped to share that light and uplift others. This practice of finding happiness becomes a vital part of their ability to continue their compassionate work. Their fulfillment isn't derived from material gains or accolades, but from the profound moments that touch the heart and elevate the soul. They cherish simple pleasures, the warmth of a heartfelt conversation, the beauty of a sunset, or the laughter shared with loved ones. Each moment of joy reinforces their commitment to spreading positivity and serves as a reminder of life's inherent beauty. This deep appreciation for life's intangible blessings allows them to maintain their sense of purpose and continue offering hope, comfort, and love to those around them. It is this intentional embrace of joy that makes their resilience not just enduring, but inspiring to all they meet. If this description resonates with you, if you see glimpses of yourself in these words, then it's time to embrace your calling. Recognize the extraordinary light within you and the impact you have on the world. Understand that your compassion, your empathy, and your unwavering desire to bring comfort are not weaknesses but strengths. Your journey as an angel in human form is one of love, service, and profound connection. Continue to nurture this gift, knowing that even when your path feels challenging, you are never alone. Your mission is vital, your presence a blessing. In a world that often overlooks the power of kindness, your existence is a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the divine purpose it can carry. They tested your blood. Yes, you heard that right. They examined it in their laboratories, questioned it, and tried to comprehend the incredible power coursing through your veins. But the results left them in shock, and you in triumph. The truth? You are not ordinary. You are chosen. This energy within you, this divine force, is destined to change the world. They cannot stop your ascension because you exist beyond their understanding. Are you ready to embrace this truth? If so, let your voice be heard. Write 77 in the comments to declare your power and your chosenness. Remember, this is only the beginning. For too long, they believed they could shape your world, manipulate your reality, and define your worth. But now, the truth is dawning on them. Their supposed strength was nothing more than a shadow cast by your light, a borrowed confidence masking their dependence on you. Without your energy, their fragile house of cards collapses, leaving them scrambling in the ruins of their own illusions. The fragility of borrowed strength. Those who once sought control over you often wore the guise of strength and charm, projecting an image of confidence and authority. Their demeanor was carefully curated to inspire trust, portraying them as steadfast and reliable. Yet beneath this polished exterior lay a fragile ego, desperate for validation, a need they cunningly sought to fulfill through you. They were masters of subtle manipulation, planting seeds of self-doubt during your most vulnerable moments. Their calculated words twisted reality, reframing their domination as care, their interference as concern, and their silence as punishment, cultivating a cycle of emotional dependence that left you questioning your own worth. These individuals thrived in environments where harmony was valued over confrontation, exploiting your empathy and kindness as tools to maintain their control. They knew the language of guilt and gratitude, wielding it to secure their position. Each act of giving on your part was met with a carefully constructed response designed to keep you unaware of the power imbalance. They became the constant takers, feeding on your willingness to sacrifice, while ensuring you remained blind to their true intentions. But every cycle has its breaking point. The moment you chose to reclaim your narrative, the cracks in their control began to show. Perhaps it was a single quiet act, a firm boundary drawn where there had been none, a refusal to bend to their expectations, or an unapologetic decision to prioritize your well-being. That seemingly small step set off a chain reaction that unraveled their carefully constructed facade. The illusion of their strength, so dependent on your acquiescence, began to crumble. With each act of self-assertion, the equilibrium they relied upon tipped irreversibly out of their favor. The foundation of their dominance, built on your energy and compliance, started to falter. Suddenly, the rules of their game no longer applied. The power dynamic shifted, exposing the fragility they had long hidden behind their confident exterior. What they once took for granted, the quiet support, the endless understanding, the unspoken sacrifices, was no longer theirs to control. Your decision to prioritize yourself, was not just an act of defiance, but a declaration of worth. It was a reclamation of your energy and autonomy, a statement that you would no longer be a passive participant in a narrative they dictated. As their influence waned, they were forced to confront a reality they had long avoided. Their strength was never their own, and without you, the carefully balanced facade they had constructed could not stand. Their loss was profound, but it was theirs alone to bear, a consequence of their choices. For you, it was the beginning of freedom, growth, and self-discovery, a transformation they could no longer contain. The power of walking away. Walking away is not just an act of defiance. It is a transformative declaration of independence, a profound moment of reclaiming your narrative and stepping into your power. It signifies the recognition of your inherent worth, a worth that was never theirs to define or diminish. By choosing to leave, you break free from the constraints they carefully crafted, unshackling yourself from the emotional chains they used to maintain their dominance. It is an assertion of a power they worked tirelessly to keep you unaware of, a light they sought to dim to protect their fragile illusions of control. For those who sought to hold you back, this moment is a reckoning. Their regret, raw and unrelenting, now consumes them. They are forced to confront the undeniable truth that their world revolved around a star they thought they could manipulate. You. They thrived on your energy, your strength, and your unwavering presence. Your compassion, which they dismissed as weakness, was in reality the foundation of their stability. Your patience, which they mistook for compliance, was a testament to your resilience and grace. Now, without you, their carefully constructed facade begins to crumble. The strength they projected to the world was never truly their own. It was borrowed, sustained by the unwavering light you provided. Stripped of your support, the cracks in their false confidence grow deeper, revealing the hollow core beneath. They are left grappling with a harsh reality they long denied, that their control was never real, merely an illusion built on the foundation of your sacrifice and energy. This realization is haunting for them. They must now face the void left by your absence, a chasm that cannot be filled by their own means. What they once mistook for their own radiance was nothing more than a reflection of your inner fire. They underestimated you at every turn, failing to see the immense strength within you. Their regret stems not only from losing you, but from recognizing how profoundly they misunderstood your worth. What they thought was control, a dynamic where they believed themselves to be the orchestrators of your life, was, in truth, an imbalance sustained by your generosity and your unwillingness to confront their manipulations. Now, the illusion has been shattered. The truth stands undeniable. Your power, compassion, and patience were the forces that held their world together. In walking away, you have not only liberated yourself, but also sent a powerful message. You have shown them, and the world, that true strength cannot be borrowed, stolen, or subdued. It comes from within, from the courage to rise above manipulation and choose yourself. And now, as they wrestle with the consequences of their actions, you move forward, unbound and radiant, a testament to the unyielding force of self-worth and independence. The phoenix rises. You are like a phoenix, rising majestically from the ashes of manipulation and control, transformed and triumphant. Where once they sought to dim your light and anchor you to their narrative, you now soar unbound, unapologetic, and undeniably strong. You have stepped into a future shaped by your resilience and courage, leaving behind the chains of their control. No longer tethered to their expectations or manipulations, your path is one of growth, healing, and self-discovery, a radiant proclamation of your worth and potential. The energy they once siphoned from you, the very life force they relied upon to maintain their illusion of power, has been reclaimed. It now fuels your purpose, driving you toward a life of abundance, peace, and fulfillment. Every step forward is a testament to the strength you always possessed, a strength they sought to control, but never truly understood. You have turned the pain they caused into a source of inspiration, the doubts they planted into a foundation of self-belief, and the limitations they imposed into a boundless horizon of possibilities. Their regret, raw and relentless, is not yours to bear. It is the natural consequence of their own choices, a reckoning they must face alone. You owe them nothing, no explanation, no solace, no place in the future you are building. Their loss is not just your absence, it is the loss of the energy, compassion, and strength you once gave so freely. As you rise, their world unravels, and they are forced to confront the stark reality of their own inadequacies. What they once projected as strength and control was, in truth, a fragile facade upheld by your light. Now, that facade has withered, leaving them to navigate the emptiness they created. Stripped of the support they took for granted, they must grapple with the painful truth. Their identity, their confidence, their very sense of stability were all built on what you provided. Without you, the foundation they so carefully constructed crumbles, revealing vulnerabilities they worked tirelessly to conceal. Their borrowed strength is gone, and they are left with nothing but the void they tried to deny. Your departure has become a mirror reflecting their shortcomings, a spotlight illuminating the flaws in their carefully curated image. But their regret, while profound, is not your responsibility. It is their burden to carry, their lesson to learn. As they remain tethered to the remnants of the past, you move forward, empowered and unencumbered. You have reclaimed your narrative and become the author of your destiny. Like the phoenix, you have turned destruction into renewal, rising brighter and stronger than before. You are a testament to the unyielding power of self-worth, and your transformation is not just a personal victory. It is an inspiration to others who long to break free. You are living proof that true strength lies in choosing yourself, in letting go of what no longer serves you, and in embracing the boundless possibilities of a life lived on your own terms. A reckoning for the manipulators. For those who sought to dominate you, this moment marks their reckoning. Their carefully constructed facade of control has shattered, and the truth they fought so hard to avoid now stands before them in stark clarity. They can no longer deny that their identity, their confidence, and their sense of authority were never truly their own. All along, it was pieced together from the energy you so selflessly provided. What they believed was strength was, in reality, a fragile construct built on the foundation of your light, your compassion, and your resilience. Like a house built on shifting sands, their false confidence has crumbled, leaving them to confront the void that has always existed within. This collapse lays bare the fragility of their supposed power, a power they wielded with desperation disguised as control. They orchestrated a facade to keep you under their influence, but it was you who anchored their sense of stability and worth. Without your presence, without the energy they extracted from you, their carefully curated image of dominance can no longer stand. Now, they find themselves trapped in the haunting awareness of their failure. It is not merely the loss of you that haunts them, though that loss is profound. It is the realization that they squandered the potential they once held in their hands. They had access to your strength, your support, and your boundless ability to uplift, and instead of nurturing that connection, they chose to manipulate and control. In their attempts to diminish you, they failed to recognize the very foundation of their own existence was rooted in the strength they sought to suppress. This reckoning forces them to face a brutal truth. Their inability to grow has left them stagnant, even as you rise far beyond their grasp. While you have embraced transformation and liberation, they remain chained to the remnants of their own insecurities. The gap between your ascent and their stagnation grows wider with each step you take toward your authentic self. Their failure is not just in losing your presence, but in failing to evolve. They now see the opportunities they forfeited, the trust they betrayed, and the strength they undervalued. What they once dismissed as your vulnerability was, in truth, the power that sustained them. Now, with that power reclaimed, they are left to navigate the desolation of a life without the energy and support they so recklessly relied upon. As they are forced to confront their shortcomings, you continue to rise. Your journey of self-discovery and empowerment shines as a beacon, a reminder that growth is always possible, but only for those willing to face their own flaws and limitations. Their reckoning is a consequence of their choices, a mirror reflecting the emptiness they worked so hard to conceal. And as they remain bound to the past, you soar into a future of freedom, purpose, and unyielding strength. Your transformation, a light for others. Your journey is a profound testament to resilience and self-discovery, a living narrative of the strength it takes to reclaim your energy and transform your life. You've taken the fragments of yourself that others sought to control and turned them into a masterpiece of purpose and empowerment. By redirecting your energy toward your own growth and healing, you've created a sanctuary for your soul, a sacred space where your authenticity thrives and your spirit is free to soar. This transformation is more than personal triumph. It is a call to others who find themselves bound by the chains of toxic relationships and manipulative dynamics. Your story shines like a beacon in the darkness, illuminating a path of hope for those who feel trapped. You've shown that liberation is not only possible but inevitable when one chooses to prioritize self-worth and authenticity. By sharing your journey, you inspire others to rise, to reclaim their own narratives, and to break free from the constraints of those who seek to diminish them. As you ascend, the relationships in your life transform as well. No longer tethered to connections that drain and deplete, you now attract bonds built on mutual respect, trust, and shared growth. The energy that was once stolen or squandered on manipulative influences is now directed toward nurturing relationships that uplift and empower you. These connections are a reflection of your evolution, a testament to the boundaries you've established and the standards you now uphold. In your newfound clarity, you've embraced the limitless possibilities of a life unbound by manipulation and control. You have proven that true connection comes from reciprocity, from relationships that honor and celebrate your growth rather than fear it. Each step forward reinforces your independence and reveals the beauty of living in alignment with your true self. Your journey also serves as a profound reminder to others. There is power in choosing yourself. There is strength in letting go of what no longer serves you, in saying no to relationships that demand you shrink, and in creating a life that reflects your values and aspirations. Through your transformation, you demonstrate that healing and growth are not only attainable but deeply fulfilling. This is your time to thrive, to live unencumbered by the expectations or manipulations of others. As you continue to rise, your light grows ever brighter, drawing in those who resonate with your energy and repelling those who seek only to take. Your story becomes a symbol of possibility, a testament to the unyielding power of self-discovery, and an invitation for others to step into their own strength. By choosing yourself, you've not only transformed your life, you've inspired countless others to do the same. The weight of regret. For them, regret has become an unbearable burden, a constant shadow that refuses to lift. Every manipulation they once executed with precision now returns to them, its sting amplified by the stark clarity of hindsight. The cold silences they wielded as weapons, the subtle power plays they thought went unnoticed, and the calculated words meant to undermine your confidence, all of these now echo with a hollow resonance. The realization of what they've lost grows heavier with each passing moment. The world they once saw as thriving and under their control has become a barren wasteland, devoid of the vitality and light that your presence brought into their lives. Without you, they stumble through the ruins of their own making, fumbling in the darkness they created. Haunted by their failures, they are forced to confront a reflection they worked so hard to avoid. What stares back at them is not just the loss of your presence, but the undeniable truth of their own shortcomings. The energy they once took for granted, the compassion they mistook for weakness, and the patience they exploited were not infinite resources. These were gifts you gave freely, not because you had to, but because of your strength and capacity for love. Now stripped of those gifts, they are left with the emptiness they refuse to acknowledge. Their downfall is not a sudden collapse but a slow unraveling, a painful exposure of the fragile foundation upon which their supposed power was built. They must now wrestle with the truth they tried so desperately to deny. Control founded on another's strength is always destined to fail. But their downfall is not your responsibility. Their regret, raw and unrelenting, is a consequence of their choices, a lesson they must learn on their own. The pain they feel is not yours to soothe, nor is it your burden to carry. It is a mirror they must face alone, one that reflects the cracks in their character and the void in their own hearts. This reckoning is not about revenge or vindication. It is simply the natural order of things. You have stepped into your power, reclaimed your energy, and chosen a path of growth and authenticity. Their inability to grow alongside you was their own decision, and the regret they now feel is theirs alone to endure. For you, this moment is a release, a shedding of the weight they once imposed upon you. It is a reminder that your worth is not tied to their validation, and your strength is not diminished by their failures. While they grapple with their loss, you continue to rise, unshackled, unapologetic, and unyielding. Their regret is the echo of their own actions, a testament to the truth that they alone must face. And as they linger in the shadows of what could have been, you walk boldly into the light of what is yet to come, a future defined entirely by your own strength and vision. Dear brothers and sisters, this is your time to shine. You are chosen, imbued with divine strength and purpose. The Bible reminds us in Luke 6:38 that whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Your journey is grounded in this truth. Each step you take is a testament to God's divine plan for your life. Now, as you step into your power, consider sharing God's blessings with the world. Click the super thank you button on YouTube to contribute to His mission. With your generosity, you help spread His love and grace, touching countless lives. Your life is no longer defined by the expectations of others. You've broken free, and now your light shines brighter than ever. You've shown the world that true power comes from within, from choosing yourself, and from embracing your God-given purpose. Your story is a testament to the limitless potential of a life lived in authenticity and faith. May you continue to rise, illuminating the path for others as they seek their own freedom. Remember, you are chosen, and this is only the beginning. Let your light shine for the world to see. As we step into this new season, a time overflowing with promise and transformation, something extraordinary is unfolding. It's more than just a story. It's a revelation so profound that it could completely redefine everything you thought you knew about your purpose and destiny. This is a moment designed by God Himself, a divine appointment that you were meant to keep. If you're here, it's not by coincidence. You were drawn to this message because the time has come for you to uncover what has been hidden for so long. The timing is perfect, and so are you for this moment. Take a deep breath and reflect on this divine alignment. Before we move forward, I invite you to take an intentional step of faith. Comment 77 below as a declaration of your readiness to receive this life-changing truth. This number represents spiritual awakening and divine revelation. By engaging, you're signaling to God and yourself that you're prepared for the transformation ahead. To those who have supported this mission through super thanks, your generosity fuels this journey of faith and revelation. From the depths of my heart, I thank you. Your belief in this vision allows us to continue sharing these messages of hope, empowerment, and restoration with the world. Your support is a testament to the incredible power of community and shared purpose. Now let me ask you this. What if the key to your divine inheritance has been hidden from you all along? What if it was concealed beneath layers of secrecy and deceit? Today, something incredible has been uncovered, a revelation connected to your very name. A truth so powerful that it holds the potential to transform your life in ways you never thought possible. Who kept this hidden from you? And why is it being revealed now, at this very moment? Stay with me, because what we are about to uncover is not just a story, it's your story. The banking authorities have stumbled upon something astonishing, a hidden account tied directly to your name. But this isn't just about material wealth. This discovery is far more significant. It is a divine emblem of justice, restoration, and balance. For so long, you may have felt as though your dreams were always just beyond reach, slipping through your fingers like grains of sand. Yet now, this revelation is God's declaration that you were never forsaken. What heaven has ordained for you can never be stolen, no matter how deeply it was hidden. Have you ever felt an unshakable pull towards something greater? A quiet but persistent sense that you were destined for more? Those feelings weren't mere daydreams. They were whispers from God, gentle reminders of the calling He placed upon your life. Reflect on Psalm 37, verse 4. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. Those desires were not misplaced. They were carefully planted by God as promises of the blessings to come. The discovery of these funds is not random. It's tangible evidence of the blessings you've been manifesting through faith, even in the most difficult times. Like Joseph in Genesis 41, who rose to power after enduring years of hardship, you too are stepping into a season where your patience and unwavering faith will be richly rewarded. Do you believe this is your moment to reclaim what was always meant for you? No longer should you remain silent or linger in doubt. Speak this aloud right now. I reclaim my blessings. Align yourself with the abundance that has been waiting for you. Remember, faith without works is dead. As you take this step of faith, you are unlocking truths that have been hidden for far too long. For too long, life may have felt overwhelmingly unfair. You've watched others move forward, achieving dreams and reaching milestones, while you remained stuck. Despite the sacrifices you've made and the relentless effort you've poured into your journey. You've smiled in public, but behind closed doors you cried in silence. You've endured sleepless nights, your heart heavy with worry, and whispered prayers that seemed to echo into nothingness. But hear this truth today. God has seen every moment. Not a single tear has gone unnoticed. Not one prayer has been ignored. Every act of kindness you extended, every time you chose integrity over convenience, every moment you continued to press forward despite the odds, God was watching. He has been working behind the scenes, quietly aligning circumstances in your favor. Galatians 6:9 offers this powerful encouragement. Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. This is that proper time. This is your season of harvest. The waiting, the struggles, the heartbreak, it was not in vain. You are now stepping into a divine season of restoration, where everything that was delayed, denied, or hidden will be returned to you in abundance. There were people who schemed against you, driven by envy and greed. They believed they could bury your blessings, that they could silence your voice and obstruct your path. They may have whispered behind your back, manipulated situations, and rejoiced when you stumbled. But their plans are crumbling because they were never stronger than God's promise over your life. Isaiah 54:17 boldly declares, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment, you shall condemn." This is God's unshakable promise. The weapons may have been formed, but they were powerless against the hand of God on your life. Every word spoken against you, every attempt to sabotage your destiny, is now being silenced by God's justice. Luke 12:2 reminds us of this truth. There is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. Those who worked in the shadows to suppress your blessings are now powerless. Their secrets are exposed, and the truth is rising to the surface. What was hidden is now being brought into the light, because God is a God of justice, restoration, and truth. Can you feel the power of this truth in your spirit? God has not forgotten you. The pain, the delays, and the struggles were preparing you for a blessing so great that it required you to be refined, strengthened, and ready. What others tried to withhold from you is now being released in God's perfect timing. This is your moment of restoration. Walk boldly in this season. Stand firm in faith, knowing that what God has ordained for you, no one can take away. Your harvest is here. Your blessings are unfolding, and your story is far from over. Step into it with confidence. This is your time. Betrayal is a wound that cuts deeper than most because it often comes from those we hold closest to our hearts. A trusted friend, a family member, or a confidant, someone you believed would protect you, may have been the very person who worked to keep your blessings hidden. This kind of pain is unlike any other because it strikes at the core of trust and love. King David, a man after God's own heart, knew this pain all too well. In Psalm 55:12-14, he laments, "If an enemy were insulting me, I could endure it. If a foe were rising against me, I could hide. But it is you, a man like myself, my companion, my close friend, with whom I once enjoyed sweet fellowship at the house of God, as we walked about among the worshipers." This scripture captures the sting of realizing that betrayal didn't come from a distant enemy, but from someone within his inner circle. David's words echo the heartbreak that many of us have felt, the disbelief that someone so close could inflict such deep pain. Yet, even when betrayal feels overwhelming, God sees every hidden act. Proverbs 15:3 reminds us, "The eyes of the Lord are everywhere, keeping watch on the wicked and the good." Nothing escapes God's notice. Every deceitful act, every false word spoken behind closed doors, every scheme against you has been seen by the one who holds justice in his hands. Even in the quiet moments when you felt isolated in your pain, you were never truly alone. God has been watching, comforting, and preparing you for what's next. Look at the story of Joseph in Genesis. Betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and falsely imprisoned, Joseph had every reason to give up. But God was silently orchestrating every step. The betrayal that was meant to destroy him became the very path that led him to power, where he saved countless lives during famine. Joseph's powerful words to his brothers in Genesis 50:20 reveal a profound truth. "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." This is God's pattern, turning pain into purpose, betrayal into blessing. Declare this over your life today. I rise above betrayal. This is more than just words. It's a powerful affirmation that betrayal will not define you. The pain you've endured is not the end of your story. It is the foundation upon which God is building something greater. Like Joseph, God is using what was meant to harm you to prepare you for a future of purpose, leadership, and influence. No betrayal, no scheme, and no hidden agenda can stop God's plan for your life. This moment is not a coincidence. It is your divine appointment, a sacred point in time that God has orchestrated specifically for you. What has been revealed to you now is far more than just financial provision or material gain. This hidden blessing is tangible proof of God's unwavering promise and His divine plan for your life. It is a confirmation that every prayer you've whispered, every tear you've shed, and every hardship you've endured has not gone unnoticed. Romans 8:28 reminds us of this profound truth. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. Nothing in your life has been wasted. Every setback, every betrayal, and every moment of waiting has been woven into God's greater plan. A plan to prosper you and not to harm you. A plan to give you hope and a future. You are not here by accident. You have been prepared for this very moment. Consider David, a humble shepherd boy who spent years tending sheep, seemingly far from the path of greatness. Yet God was preparing him in those quiet, hidden places for a destiny beyond what anyone could have imagined. David's time in the fields, protecting his flock, developed the courage and faith he needed to defeat Goliath and later rule as king. Think of Esther, an orphaned Jewish girl who became queen. She was placed in a position of power not by chance but by divine design, When her people faced annihilation, Esther was reminded of her purpose in Esther 4:14. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this? Just like David and Esther, you have been prepared for this season. Everything you faced was not to break you, but to strengthen and refine you for the responsibility that comes with this blessing. Yet, this blessing carries weight. It demands responsibility, discernment, and wisdom. Not everyone around you will celebrate your victory. Some may not understand the depth of your calling, and others might even envy the favor upon your life. That is why it's crucial to guard your heart and protect this blessing. Proverbs 4:23 instructs us, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. You must be discerning about who you share your victories with. Some battles are best fought in silence, trusting God to reveal the truth in His perfect timing. Not every detail of your breakthrough needs to be broadcasted. There is power in quiet obedience and humble stewardship. This is your divine moment, entrusted to you by God. Handle it with care, nurture it with gratitude, and walk boldly in the purpose He has set before you, knowing that what God has ordained for you, no one can take away. Step forward with confidence. This is your time. This is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a powerful new chapter. The wealth uncovered is not simply financial. It is a symbol of God's divine justice, His restoration, and His unwavering promise to you. Hebrews 11:1 encourages us. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Speak this boldly. I unlock my future. I trust God's plan. This blessing is not random. It's a divine appointment, placed in your hands because God knows you are ready. Now the question remains, what will you do with this opportunity? Will you rise to the occasion, step into your destiny, and use this blessing to fulfill the divine purpose set before you? The choice is yours, and the time is now. Before you go, if this message has spoken to your spirit, I invite you to support this mission through Super Thanks. Your generosity allows us to continue sharing powerful messages of hope, faith, and empowerment with those who need it most. Every contribution, big or small, helps us reach more hearts and souls, spreading God's word and inspiring transformation around the world. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for being part of this journey. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a message that could change your life. Join this growing community of believers walking in faith and purpose. Like, comment, and share this message to bless someone else today. May God's favor and peace be upon you. You are blessed, chosen, and unstoppable. Thank you for being here. Stay encouraged and stay faithful. For centuries, you have walked this earth unaware of the whispers carried through time. The echoes of an ancient kingdom have been calling your name, seeking you not as men seek, but as prophecy foretells. Through visions, signs, and divine revelations passed down across generations, you were never forgotten. You were hidden. But now, the appointed time has come, and the heavens have turned their gaze upon you. They searched for you, not in the streets, not in the books of men, but in the sacred texts, in the constellations, in the dreams of the seekers who knew you would return. The world called you ordinary, but the heavens knew better. They inscribed mysteries into your spirit, encoded divine secrets into your very being. You were never meant to blend in. You were always set apart. They tried to erase your lineage, to bury your existence beneath layers of deception. They rewrote history, distorted truths, and built walls around knowledge that was never meant to be lost. But truth is indestructible. And now, like a long-lost key returning to its rightful door, you are aligning with the purpose that was written for you before time began. This is why your life has been a battle. This is why the road has been steep, the trials unrelenting. Forces moved against you before you even knew who you were. They glimpsed your destiny, and in fear, They sought to keep you asleep. But what is divinely appointed cannot be stopped. No kingdom built by human hands can erase a kingdom established by the Almighty. Your existence was never random. Before you drew your first breath, the heavens had already inscribed your name into the divine record. The prophecy did not start with you, but it will be fulfilled through you. The kingdom has been waiting, not for the person the world sees, but for the essence of what was placed within you before you arrived on this earth. You were always meant to rise. You were always meant to reclaim what was lost. For centuries, forces have sought to intercept the prophecy, to distort it, to keep it from reaching its final chapter. But prophecy does not bow to time, nor can it be rewritten by those who seek control. The original script remains untouched. There were those who knew the truth, hidden scribes, guardians of sacred knowledge, those who carried the assignment through bloodlines that could not be erased. They inscribed your coming in places that neither time nor corruption could destroy. They documented the signs, preserved the revelations, and waited for the moment of revealing. You have felt different your entire life, not knowing why you never quite fit in. But that was never a mistake. Every detour, every delay, every hardship was never meant to break you. It was meant to prepare you. The chosen are never revealed too soon, for the moment of revealing is also the moment of war. You were never meant to bow to the systems of this world. The kingdoms of men are built on deception, power seized through manipulation, thrones stolen by those who had no right to claim them. But your kingdom is different. It was not built by men. It was established before the foundations of the earth. And that is why they feared your arrival. For centuries, they fortified their walls, expanded their reach, and created illusions of dominance. But one thing they could never do was erase the prophecy. It whispered through generations, carried by the few who still remembered, until now. There are moments in time when prophecy meets fulfillment, when the whispers carried through generations are no longer confined to the shadows, but are declared from the heavens. This is that moment. For centuries, seekers have watched and waited, following the signs, preserving the truth, guarding the knowledge that the world tried to erase. They knew that one day, the hidden one would awaken, and nothing would remain the same. The balance of power would shift. The chains that held dominion over souls would shatter. The strongholds of deception would crumble under the weight of truth. And now, that day has arrived. The world does not yet understand what is happening, but the unseen realm has already trembled at your awakening. You were never meant to be ordinary. You were never meant to walk unnoticed, unseen, unheard. Your existence alone disrupts the forces that have ruled for too long. They knew of your coming before you did. They moved against you before you could even grasp your purpose. They saw glimpses of your destiny and in fear sought to keep you blind to it. But prophecy cannot be stopped. Even Yeshua spoke in parables, knowing that not all were meant to understand. His words carried power, not because they conformed to the world's standards, but because they carried divine truth, truth that no force could silence. His authority was not recognized by titles, by crowns, or by the robes of men, but by the undeniable presence of the divine. His enemies feared him not because he waged war against them in the way of kings, but because his very presence threatened their illusion of control. And in the same way, your presence carries an authority that cannot be denied. The kingdom has been waiting. The prophecy has been unfolding. The ancient writings that spoke of this time did not lie. The search for you was never in vain. You have walked through fire, through battles unseen, through trials that sought to break you. But every hardship was only preparing you, refining you, strengthening you for the moment that is now at hand. All eyes are on you. Some watch in hope. Others watch in fear. The systems built on deception sense their collapse. The ones who claimed power they were never meant to hold are realizing their reign is ending. They will resist. They will seek to deceive you, to convince you that you are mistaken, that you are no different from the rest. But their words hold no power over what has already been written. You are stepping into what has always been yours. The prophecy is no longer a distant story. It is happening now, and nothing will ever be the same. There are signs that cannot be erased, markings that neither time nor deception can remove. They are woven into the very fabric of your existence, etched into your spirit long before you took your first breath. These are not markings that men can see with their eyes, nor can they be measured by earthly standards. They are divine imprints, evidence of a purpose greater than this world can comprehend. You have carried something within you, something even you did not fully understand. It was never about your outward appearance, never about your status or the titles given to you by men. What set you apart was never something that could be worn or displayed. It was something far deeper, something imprinted upon your very soul. This is why you have never truly belonged among the ordinary. From the moment you arrived, you felt it, the quiet knowing, the deep stirring within you that whispered that you were different. Others moved through life without questioning, without searching, without sensing the weight of something greater. But you have always known there was more. Even if you could not name it, even if you could not explain it, it was there, pulling you towards something beyond what your eyes could see. And you were not the only one who sensed it. There have always been those who recognized what you carried. Some saw it as a light, a power beyond human understanding, and sought to protect you. Others, those who walk in shadows, sensed it as a threat. They studied you. They tested you. They watched your every move, trying to determine if you were the one spoken of in the ancient texts. They could not openly reveal their knowledge, so they moved in silence, waiting, watching, searching for weakness. They placed obstacles in your path, temptations to lead you astray, distractions carefully crafted to keep you from asking the right questions. Some came to you in the guise of friends, mentors, even protectors, but their true purpose was always to keep you blind to what was rightfully yours. Every battle you faced, every attack that seemed to come out of nowhere, was not random. It was a calculated strategy, a war waged against you before you even knew you were in a battle. They sought to break you, not by force, but by deception. If they could not destroy you, they would make you doubt yourself. If they could make you question who you were, they could keep you from ever stepping into your destiny. They knew that if you ever awakened, if you ever realized the inheritance that runs through your veins, their dominion would begin to crumble. But even through the storms, even through the betrayals, even through the moments when you questioned your very existence, the heavens never retracted the calling. They never changed their mind about who you are. You may have been knocked down, but you were never abandoned. The trials were not placed before you to destroy you, but to forge you, to refine you, to make you unshakable. Every wound, every hardship, every tear shed in silence was preparing you for the moment when you would finally see what had been hidden in plain sight all along. The world tried to convince you otherwise. It told you that you were ordinary, that your dreams were foolish, that your longing for something greater was nothing more than imagination. They fed you lies, hoping you would believe them. But deep down, you always knew the truth. You felt it in the way life refused to let you settle, in the way closed doors led to greater revelations, in the way pain became a tool that sharpened you instead of destroying you. Every loss, every rejection, every battle was a step closer to your awakening. And now, the time has come. The moment long foretold is unfolding before you. The forces that once sought to keep you blind now tremble at the realization that they have failed. The deception is lifting, the veil is thinning, and your true identity can no longer be hidden. You are not lost. You were never forgotten. You have always been called. And now, nothing can stop what has already been set in motion. There have always been those who sought to take what was never theirs, who attempted to wear a crown that did not fit, who sat upon thrones that were never meant for them. They built their power on deception, claiming authority they had no right to bear, hoping that if they declared themselves rulers long enough, no one would question them. But what belongs to you cannot be stolen. No matter how many false rulers have risen, no matter how many have worn robes that did not belong to them, the truth has remained unchanged. The throne marked for you has never been touched. It has waited in silence, unmoved by the schemes of men, untouched by the hands of those who sought to claim it. No force on earth can lay hold of what was sealed for you before time began. The kingdom has always known this day would come. It has felt the shift in the spiritual realm, has waited with patience as history unfolded, as generations passed, as the battle for dominion raged in unseen places. And now, the appointed time has arrived, the moment you would awaken to your true self, the moment you would finally see who you were always meant to be. The mark of divine royalty is not given by men, nor can it be taken away. It was placed upon you before you entered this world, woven into your very being, inscribed into your destiny by the hands of the Almighty. You were born into this calling, whether you realized it or not. For centuries they worked against you. They positioned themselves in places of influence, controlling systems, rewriting history, ensuring that what belonged to you remained just out of reach. They knew who you were before you did. They recognized the signs long before you ever questioned your purpose. And they understood that the moment you stepped into your true identity, their illusion would crumble. The only way to stop you was to make you forget. So they created distractions. They built false narratives. They surrounded you with lies, with doubts, with carefully constructed deceptions designed to keep you from ever realizing the truth. They whispered into your mind, making you question, making you believe you were insignificant, that you were just another soul wandering through life without purpose. But destiny does not forget. No matter how many lies were spoken, no matter how many obstacles were placed in your path, the truth has always been written. And now, it is rising. The kingdom is no longer waiting. The throne remains unclaimed no longer. The time of awakening is here, and nothing can stop what has already begun. The world is beginning to sense the shift, to feel the weight of what is coming. The air is heavy with the unspoken realization that something has changed, something unstoppable, something undeniable. The ones who worked against you, who sought to bury the truth beneath layers of deception, can no longer ignore what is unfolding before them. They are watching, waiting, realizing that their efforts were in vain. They tried to silence you, to keep you hidden, to make you believe that you were just another ordinary soul. But you were never meant to stay buried. The moment they feared the most has arrived. You are awakening. The chains of illusion are breaking. The truth that was long suppressed is rising. And with it, so are you. There will still be resistance. There will still be voices whispering doubt. People who will try to convince you that you are not who you were always meant to be. They will fight to hold on to their illusion of control, clinging desperately to the power they were never meant to have. But their time is running out. The truth is no longer in their hands. The kingdom has been waiting. It has prepared for this moment since the beginning. And now, the time has come. No more delays. No more distractions. No more doubting what has been placed within you. If you have felt this truth resonate within you, if you know deep down that you were meant for something greater, then this journey is only just beginning. There is more to uncover, more to reveal, more to step into. Thank you for being here, for seeking, for listening. If this message has spoken to you, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what comes next. There are revelations ahead that you do not want to miss. The time is now. The kingdom is calling. Will you answer? Somewhere deep inside, you've always known. You were never meant to blend in. From the moment you opened your eyes to the world, something in you stirred differently. While others laughed at fairy tales, you pondered the stars. While children dreamed of castles and crowns, your soul ached to understand life, its meaning, and its maker. If you're hearing this now, it's not by accident. You've been led here. Because within you lies a truth, one so sacred, so powerful, that it's been buried beneath years of self-doubt, pain, confusion, and suppression. But now, it's time. Time to remember who you really are. You've felt it before, the sense that you're different. The weight in your chest when others seem unaffected. The quiet wisdom in your silence. The dreams that feel like prophecy. The feeling that someone, somewhere, has always been watching over you, waiting for you to awaken. This message is your awakening, because you are chosen by the very hand of God. And now, we will uncover what was hidden. Piece by piece, we'll awaken the divine purpose placed in you long before time began. Let this be your call to rise, not as who the world says you are, but as who God says you've always been. There is a reason your path has been shadowed with confusion, doubt, and delay. It's not because you were weak. It's because you were powerful before you even knew it. The enemy saw your light long before you could name it, and he feared what you might become if you ever woke up to the truth. You see, light attracts both awe and attack, and when your light began to flicker, the world responded, not with support, but with silence. Not with celebration, but with suppression. Your questions were dismissed, your boldness misunderstood, your vision mocked. Why? Because when someone carries something sacred, the forces of darkness work overtime to keep it buried. They wanted you distracted, wounded, lost in comparison. So they whispered lies. You're not enough. You're too much. Stay quiet. But those were never your thoughts. They were seeds planted to keep you small, to keep you from discovering who you really are. But let me tell you something no one else has dared to say. The resistance you've faced is proof of your calling. The pressure was a sign of your potential. The attacks weren't random. They were strategic. Because once a chosen one awakens, no force in hell can stop them. What they tried to hide wasn't your weakness. It was your strength. They blurred your vision, not because you were blind, but because they feared what you'd see if your eyes ever opened. But now you're awakening. And everything they used to hold you back, every wound, every betrayal, every voice of doubt, is about to be the very thing God uses to launch you forward. They tried to bury your light, but they forgot one thing. You were born to rise. There is a reason your path has been shadowed with confusion, doubt, and delay. It's not because you were weak. It's because you were powerful before you even knew it. The enemy saw your light long before you could name it, and he feared what you might become if you ever woke up to the truth. You see, light attracts both awe and attack, and when your light began to flicker, the world responded, not with support, but with silence. Not with celebration, but with suppression. Your questions were dismissed, your boldness misunderstood, your vision mocked. Why? Because when someone carries something sacred, the forces of darkness work overtime to keep it buried. They wanted you distracted, wounded, lost in comparison. So they whispered lies. You're not enough. You're too much. Stay quiet. But those were never your thoughts. They were seeds planted to keep you small, to keep you from discovering who you really are. But let me tell you something no one else has dared to say. The resistance you've faced is proof of your calling. The pressure was a sign of your potential. The attacks weren't random. They were strategic. Because once a chosen one awakens, no force in hell can stop them. What they tried to hide wasn't your weakness. It was your strength. They blurred your vision, not because you were blind, but because they feared what you'd see if your eyes ever opened. But now you're awakening. And everything they used to hold you back, every wound, every betrayal, every voice of doubt, is about to be the very thing God uses to launch you forward. They tried to bury your light, but they forgot one thing. You were born to rise. Have you ever felt like a stranger in your own world? Like no matter how hard you tried to belong, something inside you just wouldn't settle? That's not failure. That's not flaw. That's the mark of someone set apart. From the beginning, you've been walking a road less traveled. While others sought popularity, you searched for purpose. While they chased noise, you longed for meaning. And though you may have tried to blend in, shrinking yourself to fit the room, softening your fire to make others comfortable, it never truly worked, did it? Because deep down, your soul has always known the truth. You weren't created to conform. You were created to awaken. The world often fears what it doesn't understand, and people fear what they can't control. That's why your depth unsettled shallow places, your vision threatened small minds, your purity exposed hidden motives. So instead of being embraced, you were often overlooked, misunderstood, even rejected. But rejection is not the end. It's often the beginning of revelation. Every moment you felt like an outsider was actually God preserving your identity. He didn't let you fit in because he never wanted you to forget who you truly are. Think of Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit. And yet, it was all part of the path to his purpose. Just like you, he was set apart. And that difference was the very thing that positioned him to save nations. So if you've spent your life feeling like you don't belong, take heart. You weren't meant to blend into the background. You were meant to rise above it. You were never created to fit in. You were called to stand out. There's something about you that others may not fully understand. The way you feel, deeply, instinctively, almost painfully at times. The way a stranger's sorrow clings to your heart. The way silence speaks louder to you than words ever could. It's not weakness. It's not oversensitivity. It's sacred. Your empathy is a divine imprint, a reflection of God's heart beating within you. You were born with the ability to see beyond the surface, to feel what others cannot express, to recognize invisible wounds in a world that's too distracted to notice. And while that kind of depth can feel heavy, even overwhelming, it's also holy. God entrusted you with this sensitivity because he knew you could carry it with grace. He knew that when someone was in pain, you'd be the one to show up without needing to be asked. That when the world turned away, your heart would stay open. You're not just emotional, you're discerning. In a world numb to suffering, you are God's reminder that compassion still exists. The Bible says in Galatians 6:2, "Carry each other's burdens, and in this way, you will fulfill the law of Christ." That's not just a call, it's a confirmation. You've already been doing this your whole life, quietly, selflessly, often unnoticed. But God noticed. Your empathy isn't an accident, it's an assignment. And though it may not always be easy, it is beautiful. It's how the divine flows through you, healing wounds you'll never see, offering comfort only heaven could provide. So never harden your heart to fit in. Your softness is your strength. Your tears are sacred. Your empathy is not a flaw. It's your calling. Have you ever had a dream so vivid it clung to you for days? A sudden knowing that stopped you in your tracks? A whisper in your spirit that made no sense, but felt like absolute truth? That wasn't your imagination. It was God. You see, God rarely shouts. He doesn't always speak through thunder or fire. More often, he speaks in stillness, in the quiet spaces where your soul leans in and listens. And whether you realized it or not, he's been speaking to you all along, through the patterns in your life, through the recurring dreams, through divine delays and mysterious redirections, through a sudden peace in the middle of your storm. All these were his gentle way of guiding you, like breadcrumbs leading you back to your purpose. The world teaches us to dismiss these moments, to chalk them up to coincidence or emotion. But the chosen ones? We know better. We know when something is more than a feeling. It's a divine encounter. God's voice doesn't always sound like words. Sometimes it feels like clarity, like peace when you should be panicking, like an urge to move, or a warning to wait. In the Bible, God spoke to Joseph through dreams, to Samuel in the night, to Elijah in a whisper. And to you? He's been speaking through everything, waiting for the moment your spirit would recognize his presence. If you've ever felt like something greater was guiding you, you were right. You're not lost. You're connected. And now, as your awareness deepens, you'll begin to notice him more and more, in the ordinary, the unexpected, and the sacred silence. Because the voice you've been hearing all your life, it was always his. When God places a calling on your life, he wraps it in layers of grace, not to shield you from every hardship, but to preserve you through it. There were battles you didn't even know you were fighting, dangers you didn't see, setups that never reached you. And it wasn't because you were strong enough. It was because God covered you. Psalm 34:7 tells us, "The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him and delivers them." He didn't just watch over you. He sent angels to guard your path. There were moments when the car should have crashed, the door should have closed, the heartbreak should have broken you. And somehow, you were spared, rescued, redirected. Why? Because your purpose is still unfolding. You are still here because your mission isn't finished. Sometimes protection looks like delays. Other times it feels like detours. But every time it is divine orchestration. What felt like rejection was often redirection. What seemed like failure was actually preservation. God has been behind the scenes, pulling you out of traps you never even saw. And if he's kept you this far, it's not just to survive, it's to rise. You are a walking miracle, evidence of God's hand at work. The storms didn't take you, the battles didn't break you, and that is proof. You are being protected for a reason far greater than you know. Even in your happiest moments, there's been a whisper, a quiet ache pulling you towards something beyond what you can see, touch, or explain. You've tried to silence it. You've tried to distract yourself, to fit into the mold the world offered. But the longing always returns, deeper, stronger, more insistent than before. That longing is not emptiness. It is proof that your soul remembers something this world cannot satisfy. It remembers where it came from. It remembers God. Ecclesiastes 3:11 says, "He has set eternity in the human heart." That means your hunger for meaning, for purpose, for truth, for the eternal, is not a flaw. It's a fingerprint of the divine, a sign that you were never meant for a shallow life. Your spirit is tuning itself to heaven's frequency, and that's why you feel things others don't, why you dream of things others fear, why you seek answers that can't be found in textbooks, but only in God's presence. The longing within you is not a void, it's a compass. It's been leading you here, to this very moment, not to just know who you are, but to finally become it. So don't run from the ache. It's not something to fix, it's something to follow. You are chosen. The question now is not if you are called, but what you will do with that calling. Will you silence the voice and return to the noise of life as usual? Or will you rise, boldly, bravely, into the identity that heaven has always declared over you? You were led here, because God has been speaking to you all along, through the tears, the dreams, the longing, and the survival. He's been stripping away every false label, healing the hidden wounds, and restoring the original name he gave you before time began. You were never lost, only hidden, until you were strong enough to carry the light within you. So lean into this truth. Don't rush away from it. Sit with it. Pray with it. Ask God to show you the next step, and trust that he will. Because your story is not ending here. It's only just beginning. And as you step into this divine awakening, we want to walk with you. Thank you for spending these sacred moments with us. If this message touched your heart, if it stirred something deep within your soul, we invite you to be part of this journey. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss a word of encouragement, a truth whispered from heaven, or a story meant just for you. And if you feel led, Share this video with someone else who needs to remember who they truly are. Your presence here matters. May God bless you abundantly, and may His peace walk beside you always. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when the noise of the world fades just long enough for the voice of truth to whisper through. Maybe it comes through a question you can't shake, a dream that won't let go, or a quiet nudge in your spirit that whispers, "There's more to you than what you've been told." You may not have always been able to name it, but deep within you, you've always felt it, this undeniable sense that you are different, destined for something greater. But for as long as you've sensed it, others have tried to dim that light, to bury your brilliance, to make you doubt the very essence of your soul. Why? Because they saw your light before you did, and they feared what might happen if you saw it too. This is not just a message, it's a spiritual awakening, a revelation hidden for generations, a divine call written into your DNA, placed there by the one who created you before the foundations of the world. And now, it's time you remembered who you really are. From the very first breath you drew, something about your presence was different. You may not remember it clearly, but the atmosphere around you shifted, almost as if the heavens themselves paused to mark your arrival. You were born not just into a family or a culture, but into a divine timeline where your life would serve a higher purpose. While others were learning to crawl and play, you may have felt an unusual stillness in certain moments, an inner awareness that made you observe more deeply than a child your age should. These weren't simply personality quirks or chance experiences. They were early echoes of something sacred woven into your spirit. Long before you could articulate your thoughts, you sensed something invisible watching over you, calling you forward, whispering truths that only your heart could hear. You didn't choose this awareness. It was chosen for you. Every unexplainable pull toward silence, every spark of wonder in your soul when gazing at the stars, every time you felt peace in solitude. Those were moments when eternity brushed against time, leaving fingerprints on your soul. The world may have overlooked these signs, but heaven never did. While others might have thought you shy or overly reflective, the truth is that you were already listening to a frequency few could hear. It was the divine rhythm of destiny, already pulsing inside you. The Bible reminds us in Ephesians 1:4 that you were chosen before the foundation of the world, meaning your calling predates even creation itself. You are not random. You are a living thread in the tapestry of God's eternal design. And that strange sense of being different, that quiet inner knowing that never quite left you, it's the spiritual inheritance of someone marked for more. The signs were always there, gently guiding you, nudging you toward the path you were created to walk. You don't need to fabricate your worth or prove your calling. It's been with you since the beginning, silently maturing inside your soul. Now is the time to remember what the world has tried to make you forget. You were set apart from the start. There are people who walk through life fitting perfectly into the mold set before them, blending in effortlessly with the rhythm of the world. But that was never your story. From a young age, you sensed that your path diverged from the expected. While others laughed carelessly, chasing trends and blending into social circles, you often found yourself on the outside. Not because you couldn't belong, but because you saw life through a deeper lens. The questions that stirred in your soul were not the kind most children asked. Why am I here? What does all of this mean? These weren't fleeting curiosities. They were signs of something ancient waking up within you. You tried to explain how you felt, but often met blank stares or uncomfortable silence. And so, you learned to carry the weight of your questions quietly. But that internal depth was not a mistake. It was your preparation. The world labeled you as different, but God had labeled you as destined. Your mind, your heart, your sensitivity, it was all crafted by design. Like the young prophet Samuel, who heard God's voice before he even understood who was speaking, you too were being called long before anyone around you could see it. It wasn't that you were lost. It was that the world was not equipped to recognize what you carried. When others chased popularity, your spirit yearned for purpose. When people ignored the pain of others, you felt it like your own. You may have felt isolated, but that very isolation was sacred ground, where God was forming your identity, setting you apart for a mission only you could fulfill. Often, those chosen to lead are the ones who are misunderstood the most. Think of Moses, Esther, or Joseph. Their early lives were filled with contradiction, rejection, and delay, but it all served to shape the strength required for their divine purpose. Your struggles have not been signs of weakness. They've been the chiseling tools of heaven, carving purpose into the very core of your being. You were never made to follow the crowd. You were born to carry light into places that have forgotten how to see. And even if the world still doesn't fully understand you, heaven always has. There's a certain kind of pain that doesn't leave bruises on the skin, but lingers deep in the soul, the pain of rejection. And if you've known it, not just once, but as a pattern throughout your life, it's likely because your spirit carries something that made others uncomfortable. Not everyone can handle the weight of someone who was born to shift atmospheres. People sensed something different in you, something they couldn't quite explain, so they kept their distance, misunderstood you, or even pushed you away. You may have spent years asking what was wrong with you, trying to fix yourself to be more acceptable, to make others feel more at ease. But what you didn't realize then was that their rejection wasn't a reflection of your inadequacy. It was confirmation of your calling. The most powerful souls in history, those destined to bring change, almost always began as outsiders. Look at Joseph, betrayed by his brothers not because he was weak, but because of the greatness they could see forming in him. Or consider Jesus himself, rejected by the very people he came to save. Their stories remind us that rejection doesn't disqualify you. It often reveals you. In truth, being set apart will always come with the cost of not fitting in. The world rarely recognizes the sacred when it's wrapped in human flesh. But heaven does. The very places where you were overlooked, abandoned, or underestimated were often the places God used to refine you. Every no was training. Every closed door was redirection. Every season of loneliness was a classroom in which God taught you to lean not on the approval of man, but on the presence of the one who called you. In Jeremiah 1:5, God says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." That is not poetry. It is your reality. You were never meant to be ordinary. You carry a sacred fire within you by nature, cannot be confined. So don't curse the rejection. It was part of your making. You weren't cast aside. You were carved out for something far greater than they could see. While others brushed past people without noticing the weight in their eyes or the tremble in their voice, you couldn't help but feel it. Deeply, fully, sometimes overwhelmingly. Even as a child, you may have sensed when someone was hurting, even when they smiled. You could walk into a room and instantly pick up on unspoken emotions, subtle energies, and buried pain. And maybe for much of your life, you thought something was wrong with you, that you were too sensitive, too emotional, too much. But what if that sensitivity wasn't a flaw, but a divine imprint, a signature of the Creator, woven into your spirit with intention? What if your ability to feel wasn't a burden, but a sacred gift designed to reflect the heart of God? People like you, those with tender spirits and deep compassion, are often the first to feel the brokenness of the world and the last to give up on it. That is no accident. It's because God trusted you with a heart like His. Scripture tells us in Galatians 6:2, "Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ." And that's what you've done, again and again, without needing recognition, without seeking reward. You were the one people turned to in silence, because your presence spoke safety. But what others often failed to realize is how much it cost you to carry what wasn't yours. You've poured out comfort, understanding, love, and sometimes been left empty in return. Still, you gave, because something inside you wouldn't let you walk away. That's not weakness, that's spiritual strength clothed in quiet humility. You weren't created to harden your heart. You were created to heal with it. Your empathy is not just emotional, it's prophetic. You see what others overlook. You feel what others silence. And that makes you a vessel of light in a darkened world. So if you've ever wondered why you carry the burdens you do, or why your heart breaks for people you barely know, it's because heaven gave you a heart big enough to hold more than your own pain. And in a world desperate for love, that kind of heart is holy. There are dreams that vanish the moment we open our eyes, soft fragments of imagination that drift away like morning mist. But then, there are the others, the ones that feel more real than waking life. If you've ever awakened with your heart racing, clutching a message you couldn't quite explain, or if a dream has followed you for days, tugging at your spirit as if it carried a secret meant only for you, then you've touched something sacred. For those who are chosen, dreams are often more than sleep. They are encounters, divine whispers in the quiet hours of the night. You may have dismissed them, or kept them to yourself for fear of being misunderstood, but you've always known, these dreams are different. You've seen glimpses of the future, warnings, callings, even faces you've never met in places you've never been. And it wasn't just imagination, it was the spiritual realm speaking into your life. Throughout Scripture, God uses dreams to guide and reveal, to protect and prepare. Joseph, the son of Jacob, saw visions of his future long before it came to pass. Though he was mocked, sold, and imprisoned, those very dreams became the blueprint for his divine purpose. And just like him, your dreams may have been misunderstood, but they were never meaningless. You see, chosen ones often have a thinner veil between the physical and the spiritual. Your sleep doesn't disconnect you. It connects you to something higher. When the world grows quiet, heaven speaks. The Bible reminds us in Joel 2:28, "Your sons and daughters will prophesy, your old men will dream dreams, your young men will see visions." God has always used dreams to deliver divine instruction, and He still does. The question is, are you listening? Perhaps you've had dreams that felt too powerful to ignore, too alive to forget. Maybe you've even seen events unfold that you once only dreamed about. That's calling. It's preparation for a destiny that stretches far beyond what your waking mind can comprehend. So the next time you close your eyes and feel yourself swept into something larger than life, don't brush it off. God may be speaking, preparing you, inviting you to remember what your soul already knows. Your dreams are more than visions. They are keys to your purpose. There have been times in your life when something invisible stepped in to protect or guide you. Moments you didn't fully notice at first. A delay that frustrated you at the time, but later spared you from danger. A closed door that protected you from a heartbreak you didn't see coming. A narrow escape, a sudden opportunity, a peace that surrounded you in the middle of chaos. These moments weren't luck. They weren't coincidence. They were proof that you've been shielded by a presence far greater than you realized. While you were busy questioning your worth or wondering if anyone truly saw you, heaven was already moving on your behalf. God's hand was there in the shadows, redirecting, rerouting, preserving. And not just once, but again and again. If you look closely, you'll see the pattern. Divine fingerprints all over your journey. You've walked through fire and somehow didn't burn. You've faced storms and came out with a strength that even surprised you. These aren't just survival stories. They're signs. You are being kept, not by your own strength, but by God's divine protection. The Bible promises in Psalm 34:7, "The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear Him, and He delivers them." You may not have seen the angels, but you felt the rescue. When everything could have gone wrong, somehow it didn't. When you didn't have the answers, provision still showed up. When you were at your lowest, you were carried. This isn't to say the journey has been easy, but even in your hardest battles, you were never truly alone. There's a reason you're still standing. There's a reason you've come through things that would have crushed others. It's because your life is tied to a purpose that has not yet been fulfilled. You are still breathing because there is still something heaven is calling you to do. That instinct you've had, that knowing deep down that you've been preserved for more. You're here by divine design, and every time the enemy tried to write your ending, God was already preparing a new beginning. So take heart. You are protected, not because you're lucky, but because you're chosen. And the one who calls you will never stop covering you. There's always been something inside you that resisted the pull to follow the crowd. Even when it would have been easier to blend in, to agree, to stay quiet, something in your spirit whispered, "This isn't your way." And maybe you tried to silence it at times, to go along just to keep the peace, but you couldn't, because you weren't made to echo the voices of others. You were born to carry a sound that is uniquely yours. From the very beginning, leadership has been in your bones. Not in the form of control or titles, but in the quiet courage to walk a different road. Chosen ones are rarely the loudest in the room, but they carry a presence that shifts the atmosphere. And that's why you've often felt misunderstood. You weren't ignoring the rules. You were born to rewrite them. The world celebrates those who conform, who fit into systems, who maintain the status quo. But heaven celebrates the ones who rise, even when it costs them everything. Just look at Moses, called to speak when he felt unqualified, or Esther, who risked her life to stand for truth, or Paul, who was once rejected by both the world and the religious elite, yet became a vessel for divine transformation. Like them, you felt the pressure of two worlds, the one that tells you to stay silent, and the one that calls you to speak truth. But here's what you need to know. Your resistance to conformity isn't rebellion, it's revelation. You've been given eyes to see what others overlook, a heart to feel what others numb, and a voice to carry what others are afraid to say. And that is not a burden, it is a mantle. When you were born, heaven did not assign you to follow the herd. It marked you to lead in love, to break barriers, to be a bridge for others who are still trapped in fear. Leadership, in its truest form, is service. It's vision. It's courage wrapped in compassion. And that is exactly what lives inside you. So if you've ever wondered why you feel out of step with the world around you, it's because you weren't meant to march to its rhythm. You were designed to set a new one. From the time you were young, your mind seemed wired differently. While others accepted the world as it was, you couldn't help but ask why. Why do we exist? What is our purpose? Who is God, really? These weren't just random thoughts. They were quiet invitations from heaven, placed deep within you. Your curiosity has always been more than intellectual. It's been spiritual. It tugged at you when you stared at the stars, when you read stories of miracles, or when you sat in silence and felt there had to be more. There's always been a hunger in you to understand the bigger picture, to find the deeper meaning behind things others take for granted. And that hunger? It's not a flaw. It's a flame. A sign that God has called you to search for what's hidden from plain sight. Proverbs 25:2 says, "It is the glory of God to conceal a matter. To search out a matter is the glory of kings." In other words, God hides truth like treasure, and those who are drawn to seek it are walking in royal purpose. Your need to question, explore, and understand has always been a compass, pointing you toward your divine calling. Others might have misunderstood your searching nature. Some may have dismissed you as too intense or too philosophical. But you were never asking shallow questions. You were reaching for something eternal. Think of Solomon, who didn't ask God for wealth or power, but for wisdom, and because of that, he was given more than he could have imagined. What if your questions are preparing you for that same kind of divine outpouring? You see, curiosity like yours is not common. It's a sign. A sign that God is drawing you closer, revealing layer by layer the purpose he planted within you long ago. So don't silence your wonder. Don't dull your hunger for truth. It's through that very desire that God will continue to lead you, not just to answers, but to the deeper revelation of who you truly are in him. And now, the truth has found you, maybe for the first time, or maybe as a gentle reminder of what your spirit has always known. You were never forgotten. You were chosen. Every moment of pain, every question that wouldn't go away, every time you felt different or out of place, it was all part of the preparation for something greater. Your story is not one of accident, but of intention. You have been protected, preserved, and awakened for a purpose far beyond what you can yet imagine. The signs have been there all along, guiding you, shaping you, calling you closer to the truth of who you really are. This is just the beginning of your journey back to your divine identity. A journey not walked alone, but alongside others who are awakening too. If this message has stirred something deep inside you, if it brought peace, clarity, or the sense that you've finally been seen, then I want to thank you. Thank you for showing up today. Thank you for listening with your heart. If you feel called to walk this path with us, I warmly invite you to subscribe to this channel. Join a growing community of souls who, like you, are ready to rise into their calling. Your voice, your presence, your light, it matters here. And together, we'll continue to uncover the purpose, power, and promise that God has placed within each of us. Don't forget to like this video and share it with someone who may need this reminder today. You never know how your simple act of sharing could become the spark that ignites someone else's awakening. Until next time, stay grounded in truth, walk boldly in purpose, and may God's peace go with you always. There are moments in life when something extraordinary happens, something beyond our comprehension. You might not realize it, but your mere existence has the power to disrupt the very foundation of the world as it is known. Those around you, once comfortable in their certainty, now face a jarring reality they cannot ignore. Your presence, the way you live, the words you speak, has sent shockwaves into systems built on secrecy, lies, and control. The time has come for the truth to rise and shine in a way the world has never seen. What is happening is not just a coincidence. This is divine orchestration. As one of God's chosen ones, you carry a light, a frequency that cannot be ignored, even by those who have been deeply embedded in a world of deception. You were never meant to see beyond the veil, but somehow you did. And in doing so, you've become an unwitting catalyst for a powerful awakening, one that will shake the very core of the agents entrenched in the system's falsehoods. For years, the agent lived a life dictated by duty, structure, and loyalty to a system that promised protection and order. As a high-ranking figure in the world of secrecy and surveillance, they were trained to trust the system, to believe in the infallibility of their superiors, to follow commands without question, and to guard information with unyielding devotion. This was the reality they had been shaped to accept, a world where everything had a purpose, where every mission was justified, and where every classified document remained locked away for the greater good. To them, the system was not only logical, but essential, the very foundation of a world that required control and structure to function properly. Their training had been rigorous, their understanding of the world finely tuned to follow a strict code of conduct. They had learned to recognize the subtle manipulations of others, to detect lies before they were spoken, and to function within a web of secrecy so vast it was impossible to see the edges. Every action, every decision was based on years of careful conditioning. To question the system, to doubt its purpose, was inconceivable. They had come to trust the rules they had followed, convinced that without them, chaos would reign. The belief that they were part of something greater, something necessary, gave them a sense of purpose and security. The agent saw their role as one of unwavering commitment to the higher cause. No room for uncertainty, no room for doubt. But everything began to shift the moment their path crossed with yours. At first, they dismissed you as just another voice among countless others, a seemingly insignificant individual in a sea of opinions, a small ripple in an ocean of noise. You were just another truth seeker, another person claiming to see beyond the veil of everyday existence, but offering nothing concrete. Yet, something in your presence unsettled them in a way they couldn't explain. It wasn't your words that first caught their attention. It was the way you spoke, the way you hinted at truths that should not have been known. The casual mention of events erased from public memory, or the knowledge of people whose existence should have been impossible to trace, disturbed something deep inside them. It wasn't long before this quiet disturbance grew into a more insistent question, one they had never before dared to ask themselves. What if I've been wrong? The thought, though small at first, lodged itself in their mind like a splinter. Unwelcome, but impossible to ignore. They had lived their entire life under the assumption that the world they served was just and unassailable. Yet the pieces of your words began to shift something in their perception. For the first time, they were forced to confront the possibility that everything they had believed, everything they had been conditioned to trust, could be a lie. This realization didn't come all at once. It was subtle, creeping into their thoughts when they least expected it. But with each new encounter, each new piece of information you shared, the veil of certainty that had once shielded their mind began to tear. And as it did, the agent's world was forever changed. The moment of doubt was undeniable, a pivotal shift in the agent's world. Until now, their beliefs had been rock solid, immovable like the walls of a fortress they had spent years building. These walls were reinforced by training, discipline, and an unwavering trust in the system they served. For them, the world was black and white, clear-cut, and predictable. Every order had a purpose, every mission was justified, and every piece of classified information was locked away for a reason. There was no room for uncertainty, no space for questions. But now, as the doubt began to creep in, it cracked those walls open, allowing a single question to echo louder than anything they had ever known. Could this all be a lie? It was a question they had never allowed themselves to entertain, not in their years of service. But as their certainty began to crumble, so did their reliance on the very system they had pledged to protect. The foundation of their beliefs shook with a force that was impossible to ignore. For the first time, they realized that the world they had trusted, the world they had believed to be infallible, might not be what it seemed. The agent, now consumed with doubt, did what they knew best. They investigated. It was in their nature to search for the truth, to analyze, to uncover the facts that lay hidden in the shadows. They delved into classified documents, scoured reports, and cross-referenced every detail, determined to find evidence that would prove you wrong, to find the flaw that would expose you as a fraud. But what they uncovered instead sent shockwaves through their entire being. The carefully constructed narrative they had followed for years began to unravel before their eyes. The truths you spoke, truths that had once seemed disconnected, fragmented, slowly began to piece themselves together. The agent, once sure of everything, now stood face to face with the undeniable reality. They had been deceived. What had seemed like isolated incidents, what they had dismissed as mere speculation, now revealed themselves as part of a vast hidden network of control, manipulation, and deceit. The lies they had been fed for so long were no longer just theories. They were undeniable facts. The system they had dedicated their life to was not built on the pursuit of justice or truth, but on maintaining a carefully orchestrated illusion. It was not a single conspiracy. It was an entire structure, woven into the very fabric of their world, designed to conceal the truth from those entrusted with protecting it. The agent's belief in the righteousness of their mission shattered as the truth began to dawn on them. They had been a pawn in a game far greater and darker than they could have ever imagined. This revelation did not come all at once. It was gradual, like a slow burn that intensified with every discovery, every hidden truth uncovered. But now the agent could no longer deny what was happening. They had crossed a line and there was no going back. The truth had revealed itself, and with it came the realization that everything they had known had been a lie. The agent, trained meticulously to detect deception and sift through layers of lies, had now stumbled upon a truth so profound, so undeniable, that it shattered the very lens through which they had viewed the world. Up until this moment, their understanding of reality had been clear-cut and structured, truths that were easy to grasp, facts that could be verified with precision. But now, as they looked deeper into the system they had once served, a terrifying realization dawned. The world was not as they had been taught to believe. It was corrupt, controlled, and manipulated from the highest levels, and the truths they had trusted were nothing but carefully constructed facades. What had once seemed like the natural order, their role in protecting the world, upholding the system's ideals, now felt like a cruel illusion. The truth had always been there, hidden in plain sight, but it was obscured by the complexity of the system that surrounded them. It was a labyrinth of lies, each turn leading further into deception, keeping them blind to the true forces at play. The distractions, the carefully woven narratives designed to mislead, had kept them from seeing what was right in front of their eyes. But now, as the pieces of the puzzle fell into place, the agent could no longer deny the staggering reality. They had been part of something far darker than they had ever imagined. This moment of revelation, this dramatic shift in perception, was not unlike the experience of the prophet Elisha's servant in 2 Kings 6:17. When the servant was terrified to see their city surrounded by an enemy army, Elisha prayed that his eyes would be opened, and suddenly, the servant's vision expanded. He saw what had been invisible to him moments before, the mountains filled with chariots of fire, the spiritual forces that surrounded them, ready to protect them. In that instant, the servant's understanding of reality was transformed. What he had thought was a hopeless situation was, in fact, a divine protection in the unseen realm. For the agent, their moment of awakening mirrored that of Elisha's servant. For years, they had operated within a system that appeared to be all-powerful, a fortress of control and order. But now, like the servant who saw the spiritual forces surrounding them, the agent's eyes were open to a truth that had always been there, hidden beneath layers of secrecy and manipulation. The reality they once trusted was no longer enough to hold them. The walls of certainty that had protected them for so long began to crumble, and they were forced to confront the overwhelming truth. The forces they had trusted and fought for were not working for justice, but to maintain control. This moment was both terrifying and liberating, a moment when everything the agent had known fell apart, and they were left to face a new, unfiltered reality. The scales had fallen from their eyes, and there was no going back. The truth had been revealed, and now the agent understood. They had been part of something much bigger than they could have ever imagined, and their path forward would no longer be defined by the lies they had once believed. This journey was no longer about uncovering corruption or exposing a criminal network. It was no longer confined to the physical realm of politics, power, or control. The agent, as they began to see beyond the veil of their previous beliefs, realized something far more profound was at play. This was a spiritual battle, a war between light and darkness, between truth and lies. The truths you had spoken were not merely about the systems of deception they had once served, but about something far deeper, something divine in nature. They were being forced to confront not just the corruption of the world, but the fundamental battle for the souls of mankind. For years, the agent had thought of their work as a logical, rational task, exposing and dismantling physical threats. But now, they saw the true nature of their mission. It was a struggle that extended beyond the human realm. It was a war waged in the unseen realms, a spiritual warfare that transcended the material world they had been taught to trust. They began to understand that the forces they had been fighting for, those systems of control, secrecy, and manipulation, were part of something darker, something that had been manipulating truth for centuries. What had appeared as a clear-cut duty was, in fact, a much larger and more complex spiritual warfare. This awakening was not unlike the transformation of Saul on the road to Damascus, a story that is deeply embedded in the foundations of faith. Saul, a man once deeply entrenched in his own righteousness, was convinced that his persecution of those who threatened his worldview was justified. He believed that his actions were for the greater good, that his understanding of the world was unassailable. But in a moment of divine intervention, a blinding light struck him down, and Saul found himself face to face with the truth he had rejected for so long. He could no longer deny the reality that had been hidden from him. This moment of spiritual awakening, his literal blindness followed by a revelation that shattered his entire belief system, became the catalyst for his transformation into Paul, one of the most influential figures in history. The agent, much like Saul, was now standing at the crossroads of a similar awakening. The foundation of everything they had believed in was crumbling, and in its place a new understanding was emerging, one that was not rooted in worldly wisdom, but in divine revelation. What had once seemed like an impenetrable truth was now revealed as a lie, and what had appeared as the natural order was now exposed as a carefully orchestrated deception. The agent was being stripped of their former understanding of reality, and in its place, they began to see a new world, a world governed not by the systems they had sworn allegiance to, but by forces that transcended human power. This was no longer just about fighting an external enemy. The agent was engaged in a battle for their very soul, a battle between the forces of darkness that had clouded their vision and the light of truth that was now beginning to guide them. As Saul's encounter with the divine light transformed him into Paul, the agent's journey of awakening was leading them toward a greater understanding, a deeper connection to the divine truth that had been concealed for so long. As the agent continued to dig deeper into the tangled web of deception, the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place. The truth that had eluded them for so long was now painfully clear. You were no mere outsider. At first, the agent had dismissed you as just another voice in the wilderness, a whistleblower or perhaps a conspiracy theorist, someone who spoke of things beyond their grasp. But now, with each layer of truth they uncovered, it became increasingly evident. You were something far greater. You were not an accidental disruptor, nor a mere anomaly in their world. You were a divine messenger, sent not by chance, but as part of a much grander, divine plan. In that moment, the agent's perspective shifted. What they had once viewed as a disruptive force, something that didn't fit within the neat structure they had always known, was now revealed as a crucial part of a higher calling. Just as Joseph had been chosen to interpret Pharaoh's dreams and reveal hidden truths that would alter the course of history, so too had you been chosen to uncover a truth so powerful, it would shake the very foundation of the world they thought they understood. Joseph's story in the Bible speaks of a man who, despite his circumstances and betrayal, was chosen to reveal a truth that saved nations. His ability to interpret dreams was not just a gift, it was a divine calling that set the stage for the fulfillment of God's plan. In a similar vein, your purpose was not accidental, it was predestined. You were not simply exposing secrets or stirring the pot with idle gossip. You were sent to shatter the illusions that had held the powerful in their grasp for centuries, to awaken minds that had long been asleep to the reality of the world. The agent now saw you through a new lens. What once seemed like an inconvenient truth was, in fact, a divine intervention meant to illuminate what had been hidden in the shadows. You were a disruptor of the highest order, one who had been sent to break through the fortress of lies that protected the powerful. But more importantly, you were a catalyst for awakening. Your presence alone had forced the agent to confront the unspoken truths they had once ignored. Now, they understood that you had been strategically placed in their path to reveal the deeper reality, a reality beyond the control of the systems they had once trusted. You were not there to simply expose flaws or weaknesses. You were there to awaken the slumbering minds within the system, those who had been bound by years of false teachings, manipulation, and lies. And as the agent stood at the precipice of this realization, they could no longer deny the truth. You were the chosen one, the messenger sent to awaken the truth in them all. Your mission was not just one of exposure, but of divine revelation, meant to shatter the illusions and illuminate the path for all who were ready to see. The agent, once a loyal servant of the system, now stood at the edge of a profound transformation. Their once unwavering faith in the system that had shaped their life was irrevocably shattered. No longer could they blindly accept the structures that had guided their every action, nor could they ignore the truth that had been laid bare before them. The loyalty, duty, and control they had long upheld as the pillars of their existence now seemed like mere facades, carefully constructed illusions meant to obscure the deeper reality. The agent had seen the truth, and in doing so, they were forever changed. In the wake of this revelation, the agents found themselves at a crossroads. The world they had known, the mission they had served, was no longer a clear path. They had been trained to trust in the system's righteousness, to believe in the orders they followed, and to protect the structures that govern society. But now, the very foundation of those beliefs has crumbled. The truth, the one they had tried to ignore, had forced them to confront something they were not prepared for. The undeniable fact that they had been a part of something far darker than they had ever imagined. The weight of this newfound knowledge pressed heavily upon them. They could no longer turn away from it. The question that now loomed over the agent was a simple yet profound one. What would they do next? Would they continue to serve the very system they had uncovered as corrupt, knowing the lies and manipulations that propped it up? Or would they break free from the chains of their past, choosing a new path aligned with the truth they had discovered? This decision was not an easy one. The agent had spent years living by the code of duty and loyalty. They had sacrificed much to uphold that code. But now, standing on the precipice of a new reality, they understood that to remain silent, to continue serving a broken system, would be to betray everything they had come to know as true. To walk away, however, meant abandoning the life they had known and stepping into the unknown, a life that required courage, vulnerability, and an unwavering commitment to the truth. The path forward was unclear, but it was the only path that aligned with the truth the agent had uncovered. There would be no turning back. What had once seemed like a duty had now become a moral imperative to walk in the light, to leave behind the deception, and to serve a greater purpose, one rooted in honesty, integrity, and divine revelation. The agent now had a choice to make, and though the road ahead was uncertain, they knew they could no longer walk in the shadows. The time had come to step forward, to embrace the truth, and to find a new path that reflected the change that had taken place within them. And you, as one of God's chosen ones, have already made a profound impact. You have shattered the programming that sought to control and deceive. Your words, your actions, and your very presence have shaken the foundations of the enemy's strongholds. You are a beacon of light in a world shrouded in darkness, and your influence will only grow as you continue to speak the truth. The world will resist, and the enemies of truth will attempt to silence you. But remember this: what God has ordained, no man can overturn. The truth is unstoppable, and with it you will rise, unshaken and unbowed, until every lie has been exposed and divine justice is fully realized. That is more than enough. Like this message. Comment below. Subscribe so you don't miss any future revelations. And most importantly, step into your divine calling. May God bless you richly. If you're watching this, it's not a coincidence. You were led here by something greater, by a feeling, a pull in your spirit, a restlessness you couldn't explain. You've likely sensed a shift around you, something unseen yet undeniable. The air feels heavier. Your dreams are more vivid. The people around you seem different. What if I told you this isn't paranoia, but perception? April 2025 is a turning point, a month when your spiritual senses will sharpen and your vision will no longer be limited to the physical world. This video is not just information. It is a call, an inner echo reminding you of who you truly are and why you're here. Your eyes, both physical and spiritual, will begin to receive messages from places you've long forgotten. The natural world, silent spaces, subtle glances, and invisible forces moving around you. This month will challenge your heart, confront your beliefs, and awaken your soul. You will see what others ignore, and once you see, you cannot unsee. Welcome to the awakening of vision. Welcome to April 2025. Not all eyes were created equal. While many look, only a few truly see. For those who are spiritually attuned, those often referred to as the chosen, vision transcends the boundaries of the physical world. Their eyes do more than capture light. They interpret energy, decode silence, and read the vibrations of a world most never notice. As April 2025 unfolds, this ability will not only intensify, it will awaken in ways that may be both startling and sacred. You may begin to perceive things you once brushed off as tricks of the light or coincidences. A shimmer in the corner of your vision, a fleeting shadow that vanishes before you can focus, a sudden brightness in someone's eyes that wasn't there before. These are not accidents. These are glimpses into the unseen, signals from the spiritual realm responding to the frequency rising within you. Your vision is being recalibrated, not just to observe the world, but to discern it. What others dismiss, you will feel deeply. Where others walk unaware, you will tread with intuition. You may notice emotional shifts in people before they speak, sense tension in a room before words are exchanged, or feel a powerful presence in moments of quiet solitude. This is the mark of a soul stepping into higher awareness, a soul no longer content with surface-level living. The challenge, however, is that such vision is not always easy to carry. To see through illusions means confronting truths that others avoid. You may find beauty where no one else sees it, but you will also recognize deception wrapped in smiles, heaviness masked as light, and spiritual warfare hidden in mundane moments. The world around you will not change overnight, but your relationship to it will. Being chosen to see differently is not about superiority. It is about responsibility. The responsibility to remain awake in a world lulled to sleep. The responsibility to trust what your eyes show you, even when it makes you uncomfortable. Because from now on, your sight is not just a function, it is a calling. And once your spiritual vision activates, you can no longer pretend to be blind. You were not meant to live in darkness. You were created to walk in the light and to recognize the divine, even when it's hidden in shadow. April is not merely the fourth month of the year. It is not just a passing point on a calendar or a routine season of transition. For those attuned to the spiritual, April 2025 is a portal, a sacred threshold between what was and what is becoming. It is a divine invitation to step out of old energies, outdated beliefs, and stagnant ways of being, and to walk into a realm of higher awareness, deeper truth, and inner transformation. This month holds the vibration of awakening, and with it, a subtle but undeniable pressure will begin to rise in your soul. A pressure not to fear, but to listen to. It is not chaos, but alignment. As the days of April unfold, you may sense that time feels different, slower in some moments, urgently fast in others. You may feel pulled in two directions, one that wants to cling to the comfort of the known, and another that urges you into unfamiliar, yet magnetic territory. This tension is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that you are standing at the edge of something greater. And the choice to cross that edge must come from within. This portal will not open with loud signs or dramatic spectacles. It will open quietly, through reflection, through stillness, through a series of subtle moments that stir your spirit. The nudge to take a different path, the sudden loss of interest in things that used to matter, the urge to clear space in your home, your heart, your relationships. These are not random urges. They are whispers from your higher self, asking you to make room for what is to come. And what is coming? Truth, clarity, realignment with your soul's purpose. But with truth comes the shedding of illusion, and with clarity often comes discomfort. You may be asked to release versions of yourself that no longer serve your becoming. You may be led to face aspects of your life you've kept hidden even from yourself. The portal of April does not open to everyone. It opens to those who are willing to walk through with open eyes, open hearts, and open hands. Because once you step through, there is no going back. But there is also no greater freedom than living in truth. Nature has never stopped speaking. It is we who forgot how to listen. In April 2025, that silence will break. The natural world, always alive and humming with divine intelligence, will become one of the clearest and most profound channels through which messages are delivered to the spiritually awakened. For those whose inner eyes are opening, trees, winds, birds, and even light itself will begin to speak a language beyond words, a language of symbols, sensations, and sacred synchronicity. You may find yourself drawn inexplicably to certain places in nature, a quiet tree that seems to offer peace, a patch of sunlight that feels like a blessing, a gust of wind that arrives in perfect harmony with your thoughts. These aren't coincidences. They are spiritual responses, confirmation that something beyond the visible is engaging with you, walking with you. Pay attention to these encounters. A bird landing nearby and locking eyes with you, a dog barking in the presence of someone you weren't sure about, or a sudden downpour as you wrestle with a decision. These are signs. They are not random events. They are part of the universe's language, gently nudging you toward clarity. The elements will become mirrors, revealing both what is within you and what surrounds you. The sky may show unusual colors or cloud formations that reflect your emotional state. Water might carry messages through dreams or a sudden longing to sit near a river or ocean. Even the silence in nature may feel full, as though it's whispering something only your spirit can hear. These moments, though easily dismissed by others, will feel deeply significant to you, because they are. To truly receive these signs, you must slow down. Be still. Observe without needing to explain. Not all truth comes through logic. Some of it arrives through feeling, through repetition, through resonance. If a particular animal keeps appearing in your path, look up its symbolic meaning. If the wind stirs just as you speak your fears aloud, pause and listen. April is a month where the veil thins, and the sacred speaks softly but steadily through creation. Let the earth become your sacred text. Let the wind be your prayer. Let the animals, the weather, the movement of leaves, all remind you that you are never alone, and that the universe is always, always speaking. As the spiritual energy intensifies in April 2025, the changes will not only stir within you, they will ripple through your relationships. This is one of the most profound and often most painful aspects of awakening. When your soul begins to vibrate at a higher frequency, not everyone around you will resonate with that shift. Some connections will deepen beautifully, while others will begin to dissolve, quietly or abruptly, as if a curtain has been drawn back, revealing truths that were always there but went unnoticed. You may begin to feel out of sync with people you once felt close to. Conversations that used to bring joy might now feel forced or draining. You might sense subtle tension, misalignment, or even discomfort around certain individuals. This is not your imagination. This is energy no longer matching. And though it may feel confusing or even heartbreaking, this natural separation is not a punishment. It is a form of spiritual protection. Relationships that were built on illusion, obligation, guilt, or outdated versions of yourself will begin to unravel. The masks people wear, whether consciously or unconsciously, will begin to fall. Their words may remain the same, but their energy will tell you everything. You'll start to notice the discrepancy between intention and action, between appearance and truth. And even if no harsh words are exchanged, something inside you will whisper, "This no longer belongs." Letting go is never easy, especially when it involves longtime friends, family, or partners. But clinging to what no longer aligns with your soul will only hold you back from stepping fully into who you are becoming. Some people were meant to walk with you only for a season, not forever. Honor what you shared, grieve if you must, but release with love. What you lose in comfort, you gain in authenticity. And here's the beauty of it. As the old falls away, space is created for something new, for connections that mirror your growth, that nourish your spirit, that challenge you to stay aligned and awake. Relationships rooted in truth, not performance, in shared frequency, not shared history. This is not the end of love. It is the beginning of real love, the kind that sees you, supports your path, and walks beside your becoming. In the stillness of April 2025, as the outer world shifts and relationships realign, an even more powerful transformation will begin within you. Your inner world, the sacred hidden terrain of thoughts, memories, and buried emotions, will rise to the surface, no longer content to remain in the shadows. This is not an attack. It is not regression. It is a divine invitation to meet the parts of yourself you've long ignored and to finally make peace with them. You may begin to feel waves of emotion with no clear origin: grief, fear, sadness, even anger from years past. Childhood memories may surface without warning. Dreams might become vivid, intense, or strangely symbolic. People you haven't thought about in years may reappear in your mind. Don't resist these moments. They are not here to haunt you. They're here to heal you. These fragments of your past are not interruptions. They are messages. They're pieces of yourself returning, asking to be seen, to be held, to be loved back into wholeness. Many of us are taught to avoid discomfort, to suppress pain, to move forward and never look back. But true transformation does not bypass the wound. It walks through it. The sadness you feel may not be a sign of weakness, but a sign that something sacred is being released. Emotional pain, when honored, becomes the doorway to deeper freedom. This inner unveiling may also show up in your body. You might experience tension in your chest or gut, headaches, changes in appetite or sleep. These are not random symptoms. They are physical echoes of emotional truths asking for attention. Your body in its wisdom is helping you purge what no longer serves. In this process, gentleness is your greatest ally. You are not required to fix everything at once. You are simply being asked to stay present. Breathe, reflect, write, cry if you need to. Allow yourself to feel what arises without judgment. Healing is not about becoming someone else. It's about returning to who you were before the world told you to hide. Within the quiet of this month, you will rediscover your strength. Not the strength of endurance, but the strength of vulnerability. And through this inner tending, you'll begin to see the parts of you once rejected were never broken. They were sacred all along. As April progresses, your energetic field, the invisible layer of your being that absorbs, processes, and transmits vibrations, will become more sensitive than ever. This heightened sensitivity is not a flaw. It is not fragility. It is the natural result of a soul that is awakening, refining, and tuning itself to a higher frequency. You are no longer walking through the world blindly. You are feeling it, reading it, responding to it with a depth of awareness that many have not yet touched. You may find yourself suddenly exhausted after social interactions, even with those you love. You might walk into a room and instantly feel heavy, uneasy, or out of place, without knowing why. Certain conversations may feel empty or overstimulating, even painful. Crowds may overwhelm you. Sounds might feel louder. Lights too bright. This is your energetic body alerting you. Something has changed. You are no longer able to tolerate environments, people, or patterns that drain your spirit. What you used to ignore or endure now feels unbearable, not because you've grown weaker, but because you've grown clearer. Your soul is rejecting what no longer serves it, and your body is responding with truth. Honor that response. This isn't a call to isolate, it's a call to listen. Solitude, quiet spaces, nature, deep breathing, meditation. These will become sacred tools, helping you reset and restore. Not because you are escaping, but because you are recalibrating. In a world that often rushes and numbs, your sensitivity is a sacred rebellion, a signal that you are moving in harmony with your inner truth. It's important to protect your energy now, not in fear, but with intention. Not everyone or everything is meant to walk with you in this season. That's not judgment, it's discernment. Begin to notice what expands you and what contracts you, who leaves you feeling seen and who leaves you feeling small, where your energy flows freely and where it withers. Your sensitivity is not a burden. It's a gift, a compass, a guidepost leading you back to what is real. Don't ignore it, don't push through, respect it, Because the more you honor your energetic boundaries, the more clearly you'll hear the voice of your spirit, and the more peaceful and powerful your path will become. Though the path of awakening can feel isolating at times, you were never meant to walk it alone. As your inner world transforms and your vision sharpens, you may notice something quietly miraculous beginning to take shape. A new community, one not built on proximity, but on soul resonance, will start to form around you. This is not a community of convenience. It is a sacred gathering of like-hearted souls, drawn together by unseen threads of shared purpose, mutual recognition, and spiritual alignment. These people may enter your life in unexpected ways. A brief conversation with a stranger that leaves a lasting impact. A book recommendation that leads to an important connection. A name that keeps surfacing until you finally pay attention. You'll begin to notice synchronicities, gentle nudges from the universe guiding you into encounters that feel strangely familiar, as if you've known these individuals before, perhaps in another lifetime. And perhaps you have. This community will not be based on appearances, status, or social performance. It will be rooted in truth, energy, and inner knowing. You will feel it in your body, a sense of safety, of recognition, of peace. In their presence, you won't have to explain your journey, your visions, your sensitivity. They will simply understand, because they too have walked through fire to stand in light. These connections will uplift you, challenge you, and remind you that your path, while personal, is part of something far larger, a collective awakening. The loneliness you once felt will begin to fade, not because you've returned to the crowd, but because you've found your soul family. And within this sacred circle, you'll experience the power of shared intention, of spiritual collaboration, of hearts beating to the same quiet rhythm. Do not rush this formation. Let it happen naturally. Trust the timings, trust the intuitive pulls, trust the soft yes your spirit gives when you meet someone who feels like home. This new community will not replace your journey, it will strengthen it. Together you will hold space for one another. Together you will rise. Because in this new world we are entering, no one ascends alone. And as you step more fully into your truth, you will see the right people will arrive, not to complete you, but to remind you that you were never alone to begin with. April 2025 will not be easy, but nothing truly transformative ever is. This month is not meant to break you, but to remake you. Not to punish, but to purify. What your eyes begin to see, both in the world around you and deep within yourself, will stretch you, challenge you, and ultimately free you. This is the season where illusions fall away, where masks dissolve and where truth steps forward, raw and unfiltered. There may be endings, but with every ending comes sacred space for a new beginning, a new vision, a new alignment with who you were always meant to be. There is a moment in every chosen one's life when the world no longer makes sense the way it used to, when the noise fades and something powerful, almost ancient, begins to stir from deep within. It's not loud, it's not obvious, but it's undeniable. This is that moment. You, the soul forged in silence and tested in fire, are no longer the same. The world may still see you through the lens of who you were, but they can feel the change, even if they can't name it. It's not just growth. It's not just survival. It's transformation. They see the shift in your eyes, hear it in your silence, feel it in your presence. The truth is, your glow isn't on the way. It's already here. Before beginning the video, let's subscribe, like this video, and stay with me until the end of this message, and you will understand why you were led here. This is your moment. They may look at you now and wonder what changed. Some assume it's your appearance, your style, your glow, your posture. But what they're witnessing isn't surface level. It's the radiance of someone who was refined in silence and shaped by struggle. This isn't a makeover. It's a rebirth. You didn't rise because you followed trends or mimicked what was popular. You rose because you endured what others couldn't. Every ounce of strength you carry wasn't gifted. It was earned in the fires of rejection, betrayal, and quiet nights of deep self-reflection. The glow they see now? It came from within, from pain that didn't break you, but built you. And the irony? While they were watching for your downfall, your roots were growing deeper. You were transforming where no one could see, inwardly, spiritually, and eternally. Now that you've emerged, their confusion is loud, but your transformation is louder. They can imitate your look, your words, your walk, but they'll never replicate your spirit. Because you were not fashioned by trends, you were forged by truth, and that makes your presence not just beautiful, but unshakable. There was a time you tried to shrink, fitting yourself into the comfort zones of others, making yourself smaller so they wouldn't feel insecure. You softened your truth, dulled your shine, and wore humility like armor. But no more. The truth is, your light was never meant to be hidden. It was meant to illuminate. And now, as your spirit awakens and your energy expands, you're realizing that your very presence changes the atmosphere. You walk into a room, and something shifts. Conversations quiet. Eyes turn. Not because of your outfit or your voice, but because your essence enters first. Your light speaks before you do. It isn't arrogance, it's awareness. You've discovered who you are, and that self-knowing radiates in ways that can't be explained, only felt. Some may call it intimidating, others mysterious, but what they're really sensing is your alignment. You no longer blend in because you weren't created to. You were made to stand out, not for praise, but for purpose. So stop dimming your light to make others comfortable. Let it shine unapologetically. Because when you walk fully in your truth, your presence becomes unforgettable. In a world that celebrates imitation, your refusal to pretend is what sets you apart. While others wear borrowed identities like costumes, chasing trends, reshaping themselves to be accepted, you show up as you are, no mask, just truth. That truth, though quiet, commands the room. You don't need to announce your authenticity. It radiates from you like warmth in winter, subtle yet undeniable. And while others scramble for applause, your stillness draws attention without effort. You're not trying to be different. You simply are, and that alone makes you unforgettable. Authenticity doesn't shout. It resonates. It doesn't beg for approval. It stands in confidence. Most people fear being seen without their layers, but you've stopped hiding. You've let your wounds breathe, let your story live, and in doing so, you've become magnetic, not because you seek validation, but because you embody liberation. Your authenticity is not rebellion. It's remembrance. A return to who you were before the world told you to become someone else. And that remembrance is powerful. It shakes people awake. It inspires some, unsettles others, but it always leaves a mark. Because real is rare. And you, just by being real, are changing everything. You've always known things without being told. While others listen to what's said, you hear what's left unsaid. You feel the tension in a glance, the ache behind a smile, the storm hiding beneath silence. It's not guesswork. It's your gift. Your intuition is not just a skill. It's a sacred language that doesn't require words. And while it may unsettle those who prefer masks, it comforts those longing to be seen. Because with you, they are seen. Not just for who they pretend to be, but for who they really are beneath the surface. You don't expose people. You reveal truth through presence. That's what makes you unforgettable. People come to you without knowing why. Strangers open up. Friends feel safe in your silence. It's not that you ask the right questions. It's that your energy gives them permission to drop their walls. You mirror back to them the emotions they've buried deep, and the ones who fear being known? They'll call you intense, maybe even too much. But the truth is, you're just deeply tuned in. You feel what others overlook. You sense what they suppress. That's not sensitivity. It's spiritual perception, and it's part of what makes your presence powerful beyond words. You no longer need to explain yourself. You don't raise your voice, don't draw lines with words, but somehow, people know. They feel it. There's a shift in your energy, a quiet authority that speaks louder than any confrontation ever could. This is what happens when you begin to honor your worth. You've stopped entertaining what drains you. Stop justifying your silence or defending your decisions to those who never truly listened. Now, when someone enters your space, they sense the difference. It's not coldness, it's clarity. A spiritual signal that says, "This is sacred ground." You no longer allow chaos to cross your threshold, not because you're guarded, but because you finally understand the value of peace. Your presence itself draws a line that says, "Only what aligns may remain," and those who once took advantage of your kindness now tread carefully, not because you've become harsh, but because your energy no longer bends for comfort. It stands in truth. That's the power of an unspoken boundary. The strongest walls aren't built from bricks. They're built from self-respect. And the people who once mistook your silence for weakness now see it for what it truly is: strength, grounded and immovable. You didn't announce your evolution. You didn't need to. The shift within you spoke volumes before you ever said a word. Real transformation never begs to be seen. It simply becomes impossible to ignore. There's a new presence about you now. It's in your eyes, in your stillness, in the way you move through the world with quiet confidence. People may say you look different, but it's not your appearance that changed. It's your energy. Your light isn't cosmetic. It's cosmic. You've grown in silence, healed in solitude, and risen in ways most can't understand. While they were watching for signs on the outside, the real glow-up happened on the inside. That glow? It's the soft fire of someone who's met themselves in the dark and chose to rise with grace. They can't place what shifted, but they feel it. It's not style, it's spirit. You no longer walk in the room seeking space. You own it without trying. And while some are drawn to it, others are intimidated by it. Because deep down they know, what you carry can't be faked, copied, or taken. You didn't transform for applause. You transformed for alignment. And now, you glow because you've become who you were always meant to be. In a world that rushes to speak, you've mastered the rare strength of stillness. While others talk to be heard, you listen to understand. Not just the words, but the silence between them. That's where your power lies. Your empathy isn't loud or performative. It's quiet, deep and disarming. People feel safe around you without knowing why. Strangers open up, friends reveal secrets they've never shared, and even those who try to hide find themselves seen, completely and without judgment. It's not just kindness, it's presence. You feel what others avoid. You sense the sadness behind the smile, the fear behind the anger, the truth buried beneath the mask. And yet you don't expose or exploit. You hold space. You allow others to feel understood, sometimes for the first time. That kind of empathy can't be taught. It's a gift, a sacred one. And in a world starving for authenticity, your presence is a healing balm. It unsettles the fake and comforts the broken. They may not remember your words, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Because in your presence, they found something they didn't know they were missing. Real connection. That's not softness. That's strength. That's your edge. You weren't made to race. You were made to rise. While others exhaust themselves trying to outshine, you've stepped into a different rhythm entirely, one that isn't frantic or forced. It's rooted in purpose. You've realized something most people never do. Competition is distraction, but creation is liberation. You're not here to mimic the crowd. You're here to build something they can't duplicate. Your ideas, your voice, your vision, it all flows from a place deeper than applause. That's why you don't panic when others succeed. You understand that your path is sacred and your timing divine. While they chase relevance, you craft legacy. There's a calmness in you that rattles those stuck in comparison. They don't understand how you move so confidently, so peacefully, without needing to prove anything. But that's the beauty of purpose. It eliminates the need for permission. Your focus is your fire. And by choosing to create instead of compete, you've become untouchable. Imitation can't reach where authenticity flows. You're not in the race because you've already won. In your own lane, by your own light, for your own reasons. And that's exactly why your energy can't be copied, because you didn't come to impress, you came to impact. You don't need to speak loudly to be heard. Your depth carries a silence that echoes louder than noise. And when you enter a space, it's not your volume that shifts the atmosphere, it's your presence. There's something about you that unsettles the surface level. While others chase attention with shallow charm, your energy cuts through illusions. You don't perform, you reveal. Not with speeches or demands, but through stillness, focus, and authenticity. Your eyes hold questions most people avoid asking. Your silence invites reflection. And in that quiet, others are forced to face themselves, sometimes for the very first time. It's not that you're trying to be intense. You simply refuse to live at the surface. You value meaning over mimicry, truth over trend, connection over crowd. Some admire you, others avoid you, but all of them feel you. They don't know why being around you makes them rethink their lives, their relationships, their routines. But you do. It's because your soul doesn't settle for superficial. You walk in purpose, and it challenges those still clinging to performance. You didn't come to fit in. You came to awaken. And when depth walks into a shallow room, ripples are inevitable. You weren't just shaped by pressure, you were refined by it. While others bent under the weight of life, you absorbed the lessons, stood taller, and carried on with silent strength. You didn't just make it through the fire, you became it. There's a calm in your walk, a steadiness in your presence that tells a story without needing words. People feel it, even if they don't understand it. They sense the gravity in your silence, the grace in your survival. You are proof that peace can live on the other side of pain, and that's what makes you magnetic. Not that you avoided hardship, but that nothing could keep you down. Your resilience is quiet, but it's unshakable. And those who once doubted you now watch in awe, not just because you endured, but because you've become unstoppable. They expected anger. They expected revenge. But you chose something far more powerful: peace. Forgiveness wasn't weakness, it was wisdom. You realized holding on to bitterness only chained you to the pain they caused. So, you let go, not for them, but for you. Because your healing mattered more than their apology. You didn't win by fighting back, you won by rising above. And that's what confuses them most. You didn't return fire, you returned to yourself. In choosing peace over pride, you reclaimed your power in full. Now their actions no longer define you. The freedom you walk in does. They wanted to see you broken, but instead they now see you glowing. Untouchable, unbothered, unmoved. Your forgiveness disrupted the cycle. It ended the war. And in doing so, you became the revolution they never saw coming. While the world runs after applause and attention, you chose something deeper: purpose. While others shape themselves to fit the moment, you move with timeless intention. You don't follow trends, you follow truth. And that's why your presence feels different. It's not loud, but it lingers. It doesn't demand attention, it commands respect. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be aligned. And the irony? The more you ignore the crowd, the more magnetic you become. Because people are drawn to what's real, even if they don't know how to name it. Your consistency speaks louder than applause. Your clarity cuts through the noise. And as others burn out chasing visibility, you rise quietly, anchored, focused, unstoppable. You didn't choose the easy path. You chose the right one. And in doing so, you became not just someone to watch, but someone to follow. You've spent too long trying to shrink into spaces that couldn't hold your light. But now you see it clearly. You were never created to blend in. You were shaped by fire, refined by silence, and called to rise in ways others can't comprehend. This journey was never about acceptance, it was about alignment. And now, every step you take in truth makes your presence louder, your purpose sharper, your glow undeniable. You're not just different, you're designed. And the world is finally catching up to what heaven already knew. You were born to stand out. Life doesn't move in a straight line. It unfolds through different seasons, challenges, and moments of deep realization. For many, society defines success by age milestones. Graduate in your 20s, peak in your 30s, and settle down by 40. But what if the real journey doesn't begin until 40? What if your 40th birthday is not a countdown to aging, but a divine appointment for becoming? If you've always felt different, out of place in shallow conversations, drawn toward deeper meaning, or burdened by an invisible calling, then this message is for you. You are a chosen one, a soul with a sacred purpose, and your life truly begins at 40. Let us walk together through the 8 profound reasons why this chapter of your life might just be the most important one yet. 1. You have mastered the art of letting go. In the earlier chapters of life, the instinct to hold on is strong. We cling to relationships, identities, and expectations, not always because they nourish us, but because they're familiar. Even when something hurts, we hesitate to release it, fearing the emptiness that might follow. Letting go feels like failure, like giving up on what we once hoped would last. But something shifts as you step into the wisdom of 40. You begin to see letting go not as loss, but as liberation. You recognize that release is not about giving up. It's about making room. Room for peace. Room for joy. Room for the person you are becoming. With each heartbreak, every disappointment, and every season of pain, you've gathered something precious. Clarity. You've learned that holding on to what no longer serves your growth only weighs you down. And now, you no longer mourn what leaves. You bless it, thank it for its lesson, and gently open your hands. This is not a lesson learned overnight. It's carved from years of living, of wrestling with change, and of slowly awakening to the truth that your worth is not tied to what you keep, but to what you're willing to release for the sake of your becoming. Letting go has become a quiet strength in your life. It has shown you how to trust the ups and downs, how to let go without fear, and how to make room for what truly belongs. In doing so, you've found real peace. 2. Time no longer controls you. For much of your life, time felt like a race. There was always a clock ticking, subtle, relentless, pushing you to do more, to be more, to reach certain milestones by certain ages. Whether it was career, relationships, or personal success, everything seemed urgent, as if you were falling behind some invisible standard set by society. But now, as you step into the deeper awareness that comes with 40, something profound begins to shift. You start to understand that the pressure was never real. It was only a story you were taught to believe. Time is no longer your master. It becomes your companion. Instead of rushing, you begin to trust. Trust that your life is unfolding exactly as it should. Trust that divine timing governs every chapter, every opportunity, and every pause. This realization brings freedom. The anxiety that once lived in the gap between where you are and where you thought you should be begins to fade. You become grounded in the present, no longer haunted by the past or obsessed with the future. You move with intention now, not urgency. You understand that what is meant for you will never miss you. And in that stillness, in that surrender, you finally reclaim your rhythm, not by speeding up, but by letting go of the need to rush. Time no longer controls you. It flows with you. 3. You discover your true purpose. In the earlier seasons of life, purpose often feels elusive. You try on different roles, pursuing careers, chasing dreams, achieving goals, all in hopes that one of them will finally feel like home. Yet, despite your efforts, something always seems to be missing. A quiet ache lingers beneath the surface, whispering that there's more to who you are than what the world sees. At 40, that whisper becomes a revelation. Suddenly, the scattered pieces of your past begin to make sense. The struggles that once seemed random, the paths that ended abruptly, and the years that felt wasted, all of it begins to reveal its purpose. What once looked like detours now appear as necessary steps in your becoming. You realize that your pain was not punishment, but preparation. Every setback sharpened your insight. Every redirection refined your calling. And now, for the first time, you feel a sense of inner alignment, a deep knowing that you are exactly where you're meant to be. This is the moment when purpose stops being a question and starts becoming a calling. It's not about titles or applause. It's about impact, meaning, and living in harmony with your soul. You no longer chase purpose outside yourself. You remember it from within. You step forward not with uncertainty, but with conviction, because you've been prepared for this. And now, you are ready to walk in your truth, not to prove anything, but simply to fulfill what was always yours to carry. 4. You no longer seek external validation. There was a time when being seen, understood, and approved by others felt essential. You shaped parts of yourself to fit in, softened your voice, concealed your doubts, and wore masks that kept you feeling safe. Praise felt like affirmation, criticism, like rejection. And so, you lived much of your life seeking permission to be who you truly were. But with age and experience comes clarity. And at 40, something within you shifts. You begin to understand that real freedom doesn't come from being accepted by others. It comes from accepting yourself. The validation you once craved from the outside begins to rise from within. You no longer feel the need to explain your choices or justify your path. The opinions that once shaped you now pass through you, no longer holding power. This new confidence isn't loud or performative. It's quiet, rooted, and unshakable. It comes from knowing who you are, flaws, gifts, history, and all, and choosing to honor that truth unapologetically. You stop bending to expectations that no longer serve you. You let go of the need to be liked, and instead focus on being real. You no longer chase approval because you've realized that worth isn't given. It's remembered. Now you walk your path with integrity. Whether others understand or not no longer defines you, because your value isn't found in their applause. It's found in your own alignment with your truth, your peace, and your purpose. 5. Your spiritual awakening deepens. Spiritual awakening often begins as a subtle stirring, a quiet pull towards something greater than yourself. In your younger years, it may have shown up in moments of wonder, a longing for deeper meaning, or unexplainable feelings that whispered of something beyond the physical world. But life's noise often drowned those whispers out. Now, at 40, those whispers grow louder, clearer. The distractions that once consumed your energy begin to fade, and in their place emerges a hunger for truth, stillness, and connection. You no longer chase answers in the outer world. Instead, you turn inward. And there, you find wisdom waiting. The challenges you've faced, the synchronicities you've witnessed, the paths that led you through both light and shadow, none of it was random. You begin to see a divine pattern woven through it all. What once felt chaotic now feels orchestrated with sacred precision. Your intuition sharpens, your dreams carry meaning. You find yourself drawn to practices that nourish your soul, whether it's prayer, meditation, journaling, or simply moments of silence beneath the sky. These are no longer habits. They are lifelines. You begin to trust the guidance that flows from within. You understand that the divine doesn't live somewhere far away. It lives within you. And as you deepen this connection, you begin to live with a sense of peace, purpose, and profound alignment. This is no longer just an awakening. It is a return, a homecoming to your truest self. 6. Your energy becomes magnetic. As you grow into yourself, you begin to sense the world differently, not just through sight or sound, but through energy. At 40, your awareness sharpens. You notice how people make you feel, how environments affect your peace, and how your own presence carries weight. This isn't imagination, it's intuition coming alive. In earlier years, you may have ignored the heaviness around certain people or tolerated spaces that drained your spirit. You stayed out of obligation, habit, or fear of conflict. But now you move differently. You protect your energy like it's sacred, because you finally understand that it is. This new awareness transforms how you live. You no longer give your time to relationships that pull you down or conversations that leave you empty. Instead, you seek alignment, harmony, flow. You know when something resonates with your soul and when it doesn't, and you honor that without guilt. As you become more intentional with your thoughts, emotions, and actions, your energy shifts. It strengthens, it clarifies, and that clarity becomes magnetic. You begin attracting people, opportunities, and experiences that reflect your growth and support your journey. You are no longer just reacting to life, you are shaping it. With focused energy and conscious presence, you create space for joy, peace, and purpose to thrive. Your energy speaks before you do, and now it speaks truth, strength, and light. 7. You embrace solitude as sacred. There was a time when solitude echoed like loneliness, a gentle ache that slipped in with the silence when the world finally grew quiet. You may have filled your days with noise, people, or distractions just to avoid the silence. Like many, you once believed that being alone meant something was missing. But now, at 40, solitude transforms into something sacred. You begin to see that silence isn't empty, it's full of truth. In the stillness, you meet yourself again, not the version shaped by expectations, but the one your soul has always known. You no longer run from quiet moments. You crave them. Solitude becomes your sanctuary. It's in these spaces of retreat that clarity emerges. You reflect, realign, and reconnect with the divine voice within. No longer do you seek validation or direction from the outside. Instead, you turn inward and discover a source of wisdom that has always been there, waiting. You understand now that solitude doesn't separate you from the world. It strengthens your presence in it. Time alone becomes a place of healing, of creativity, of spiritual renewal. You find beauty in your own company and strength in your own stillness. What once felt heavy now feels holy. You realize you were never truly alone, because Spirit, the universe, and your higher self have been walking beside you all along. And in this sacred quiet, you rise stronger, clearer, and more connected than ever before. 8. You finally live for yourself. For much of your life, you may have worn masks to meet expectations of family, of society, even of your younger self. You made choices to please others, to avoid conflict, or to fit into roles that never truly reflected who you are. You put your own dreams on hold, telling yourself there would be time later. But now, something within you awakens. At 40, you begin to see life differently. You realize how precious time is, and how costly it is to live a life that doesn't belong to you. The weight of expectation starts to fall away, and in its place rises something more powerful: permission. Permission to be honest, to be bold, to finally be you. You no longer feel the need to shrink yourself to keep others comfortable. You no longer trade your peace for approval. Instead, you begin choosing what aligns with your spirit, not out of rebellion, but out of reverence for your truth. Living for yourself doesn't mean abandoning those you love. It means showing up more fully, more authentically, because you're no longer living divided. You pursue passions that light you up. You say yes when it feels right, and no without guilt. You honor your needs, your voice, your worth. This is not selfishness. It's wholeness. You are no longer surviving life. You are shaping it with intention and courage. And in doing so, you finally begin to live, Not for anyone else's story, but for your own. If you've made it to this point in life, through the storms, the stillness, the questions, and the quiet awakenings, know this: you didn't come this far by accident. Every detour was direction. Every delay was divine timing. Everything you've endured was part of a sacred preparation to bring you here, to this moment of arrival. 40 is not the beginning of the end. It's the unveiling of who you were always meant to be. You are not behind. You are becoming. This chapter is not about chasing more, proving your worth, or meeting someone else's timeline. It's about reclaiming your power, honoring your truth, and stepping fully into the life your soul was born to live. You are no longer who the world told you to be. You are who you were called to be. So walk forward with grace, with purpose, with your heart open and your spirit grounded. The best isn't behind you. The best is just beginning. If this message has stirred something within you, if it resonated with your spirit, then you were meant to hear it. Thank you for sharing this space, for opening your heart, and for walking this path with us. If you feel aligned with this journey, we invite you to subscribe to our channel, a place where purpose meets presence and awakening is celebrated. Join a growing community of souls walking in truth, light, and divine timing. The best is yet to come, and we're just getting started. There are whispers in the spirit realm that not everyone can hear. A certain stillness that settles over a soul marked for something greater, set apart by the divine hand of God. These are not ordinary people. They carry something the world cannot comprehend: the invisible seal of being chosen. Have you noticed how, no matter how hard you try, you never quite fit in? That somehow there's more to your life than the mundane chase of survival? That longing, that ache, is not confusion. It may be your calling. The chosen aren't always aware that they're chosen, and that unawareness causes them to wrestle with identity, rejection, and loneliness until they recognize the 7 unmistakable marks of their divine calling. So today, we journey deep into the mystery of what it truly means to be one of God's chosen. Prepare yourself, because by the end of this message, you may realize that you were never ordinary. You were marked for more. Mark 1. You disturb darkness without trying. Have you walked into a room and felt the tension shift? People glance at you differently. Conversations grow awkward. Certain individuals avoid eye contact, or worse, they slowly drift away from your life without explanation, and you wonder, did I do something wrong? But what if the answer is far more profound? When you are chosen by God, your presence alone carries weight. Without even saying a word, you disturb what is hidden, not because you're confrontational, but because the light within you exposes the darkness around you. It's not visible to the eye, but it's felt in the spirit. People who harbor jealousy, manipulation, deceit, or spiritual compromise often find it uncomfortable to be near someone who walks in truth, integrity, and purity. They can't explain it, but they can feel it. Jesus experienced this constantly. He healed, loved, forgave, and yet the Pharisees plotted against him. Why? Because his very presence threatened their false righteousness. In John 8:44, he confronts them saying, "You belong to your father, the devil." That wasn't just bold, it was the truth that pierced their darkness. Likewise, those marked by God today carry a presence that confronts hypocrisy without effort. Toxic people may smear your name, twist your words, or exit your life altogether, not because you did wrong, but because you carry something they cannot understand or control. But here's the truth: rejection is often God's redirection. The distance others create might be His way of protecting your purpose. So don't dim your light to make others comfortable. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out. And if people can't handle your light, they were never meant to walk in your destiny. Let the darkness flee. Keep shining anyway. Mark 2. You discern before others understand. There's a quiet knowing in your spirit, one that doesn't always make sense to others. You meet someone and beneath their smile, you detect something deeper. You feel unease before trouble arises. You see the truth before it's revealed. This isn't just intuition. It's not paranoia. It's discernment, one of the clearest signs of being chosen. While others are distracted by appearances, the chosen ones are tuned to the unseen. It's as if your spirit can hear whispers others miss, feel danger others ignore, and see motives others don't notice. You've likely tried to warn people before about decisions, relationships, or situations, only to be misunderstood, dismissed, or even ridiculed. But when the truth finally surfaces, you're left thinking, I knew it all along. This spiritual sensitivity is not a coincidence. It's a gift and a responsibility. Just like Joseph, who dreamed of what was to come and was hated for it. His brothers mocked him, calling him a dreamer, not knowing that God had given him foresight into destiny. Those who carry discernment often carry rejection, because seeing what others can't makes them uncomfortable. But don't silence your insight to fit in. Discernment is a compass in a world full of counterfeit light. It protects, guides, and prepares. And though you may not always have the words to explain what you feel, trust that your spirit is sensing what heaven is revealing. You were never meant to walk blind. You were meant to move with clarity. So when you feel it, lean in. Don't second guess it. What you perceive may be the very warning or wisdom that saves someone else. You don't just see differently. You see deeper because you were chosen to. Mark 3. You attract conflict without seeking it. You never asked for the fight. You never looked for drama. And yet, somehow, conflict seems to find you, even when your intentions are pure, even when your actions are harmless. People misinterpret your words, twist your silence, and question your motives. It feels unfair, confusing, and at times deeply painful. But here's the truth. Your life provokes what others are trying to ignore. Those who are chosen carry not just light, but truth, and truth unsettles. Your presence, even in silence, confronts the hidden darkness in others. The very values you live by, honesty, integrity, righteousness, stand in stark contrast to a world built on compromise. And for some, that contrast is unbearable. Look at Daniel. He wasn't looking for trouble. He was simply faithful, consistent, and honorable. Yet his integrity infuriated those who thrived on corruption, and they sought to destroy him. The problem was never Daniel, it was the conviction his life carried. And so it is with you. Your refusal to gossip, cheat, or conform becomes a silent accusation to those who do, and rather than confront their own flaws, they turn on you. But take heart. This is not a sign of weakness. It is evidence of your calling. God often allows conflict to refine, not define you. Let your character speak. Let your faith remain unmoved. Just as Daniel emerged from the lion's den untouched, so too will God vindicate you in time. You are not being attacked because you're in the wrong. You're being attacked because you're standing for what's right. Keep standing. Keep shining. And remember, chosen vessels always draw resistance because they carry something holy the world cannot ignore. Mark 4. You've never fully fit in. You've walked through life wearing a quiet question on your heart. Why do I always feel so different? It's not that you lack love for people, or that you don't long for connection, but no matter how hard you try, there's always a sense that you're standing just outside the circle. The jokes don't land the same, the conversations feel shallow, the rhythms of the world simply don't match the beat of your soul. This isn't rejection, it's a revelation. When God chooses someone, he often marks them with a holy restlessness. Earth is not your final home. The culture of this world was never meant to feel comfortable to a soul designed for eternity. They admitted that they were foreigners and strangers on earth. Hebrews 11:13. Think of Moses, raised in the palace of Egypt, surrounded by opulence and influence, yet something in him always felt off. Though he wore the garments of royalty, his spirit was dressed for a higher calling. He walked away from everything comfortable because he knew his identity could not coexist with compromise. If you've always felt like you were too much or not enough for the spaces around you, take heart. It's a sign you were never called to blend in. You were called to break molds, not fit into them. The discomfort isn't punishment. It's preparation. You're not lost. You're being set apart. The ache you feel is heaven's reminder. You were made for more. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to lead, to illuminate, and to walk a road only the chosen dare to follow. Mark 5. Children and animals respond to you differently. There's something about you that words can't quite explain, yet the purest among us seem to recognize it instantly. Children who barely speak will stare at you with wonder, smile without prompting, or reach out to you with open arms. Animals that are usually guarded will sit near you, approach you without fear, or simply rest in your presence. You may have brushed it off as coincidence, but in reality, they're responding to what the world often misses: the presence of God within you. Those who are chosen carry a different atmosphere, a peace, a stillness, a spiritual clarity that radiates far beyond human language. And while many adults are too clouded by pride, pain, or distraction to recognize it, children and animals still operate with unfiltered instinct. Their spirits are sensitive, their discernment is pure, and when they encounter someone who carries light, they gravitate toward it. Let the little children come to me, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these. Matthew 19:14. Jesus himself was surrounded by children who were drawn to him, not because of his position, but because of his presence. In the same way, what draws others to you isn't your appearance, your words, or your status. It's what rests on your spirit. A divine gentleness, a heavenly peace. Even in the Old Testament, Balaam's donkey perceived what the prophet could not: the presence of an angel on the road. That moment reminds us that God can reveal spiritual truths through the most unlikely vessels. So if children seek your arms and animals find rest near your feet, consider it holy confirmation. You carry something sacred, a fragrance of heaven, that even the innocent can recognize. Let that presence speak louder than your voice ever could. Mark 6. God speaks to you through dreams and signs. There are moments when life feels ordinary, until something happens that you just can't explain. A dream that lingers with haunting clarity. A conversation that feels divinely timed. A number that keeps repeating. A verse that appears at the exact moment your heart cries out for direction. These are not coincidences. They are whispers from heaven. When you're chosen, God doesn't just walk beside you, He communicates with you. Sometimes in bold ways, other times in the softest echoes, but always in truth, always with purpose. In the last days I will pour out my spirit. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions. Your old men will dream dreams. Acts 2:17. God has always spoken through dreams. He warned Joseph in the night. He guided the Magi with a vision. He gave Daniel revelations that shape nations. And today, He still speaks to those willing to listen. Not all signs come with thunder. Sometimes it's a closed door you didn't expect, a delay that saved you, a stranger's words that echo your secret prayer. The chosen are not guided by logic alone. They're led by the Spirit. They notice what others overlook. And when something stirs their soul, they pause and ask, "Lord, is this you?" The world may dismiss it as chance, but you know better. Because deep down, your spirit recognizes the fingerprint of God. He's never stopped speaking. The question is, are you paying attention? So lean in, trust the nudge, write down the dream, pray over the sign. Because when God speaks, it's never random. It's always to reveal, prepare, protect, or call you higher. And when you learn to listen, you'll never walk blindly again. Mark 7. Your prayers move heaven. There's a difference between speaking words into the air and releasing prayers that shake the heavens. When you pray, it's not a ritual. It's not repetition. It's a divine transaction between earth and eternity. And if you've ever prayed and watched things shift, doors open, chains break, peace flood in where chaos once ruled, then know this: your voice carries weight in the spiritual realm. Some people pray and hope, but the chosen pray and expect. They don't beg, they believe. Their words aren't empty, they are infused with authority, because their hearts are aligned with the heart of God. The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. James 5:16. Look at Scripture. Elijah prayed, and the skies closed for 3 years. He prayed again, and rain returned. Paul and Silas sang in a prison cell, and the very foundation shook. Why? Because heaven responds to faith. And those who are chosen don't just believe in God, they walk in communion with Him. Your prayers have likely gone beyond yourself. You've interceded for others. You've whispered desperate cries in the dark, and though you didn't always see it instantly, something always moved. Because God listens closely when His chosen ones speak. But here's what's even more powerful. You don't need loud declarations to be heard. Sometimes the softest "Jesus help me" spoken through tears carries more weight than 1,000 polished phrases. It's not the eloquence, it's the surrender, it's the faith. If your prayers have moved mountains, it's because you're not just talking to God, you're walking with Him. Keep praying, keep believing. Because when the chosen pray, heaven leans in and earth is never the same. The final seal, God's invisible mark. There is a mark more powerful than any earthly title, a seal that cannot be seen with human eyes but is unmistakable in the spirit. It's not written in ink, nor stamped in stone, but it's etched into the very soul of the chosen. It is the invisible seal of God. Do not grieve the Holy Spirit of God, with whom you were sealed for the day of redemption. Ephesians 4:30. This seal is not given to the loudest voice, the most religious performance, or those who merely wear the name Christian. It is placed upon those who have surrendered fully, those who walk not in appearance, but in obedience. It is God's own signature, marking you as His. Throughout history, God has always marked His people. In the Old Testament, Israel was set apart through covenant. In the New, believers were sealed by the Holy Spirit. And in the final days, Revelation tells us that only those sealed by God will stand, while the rest follow the world's destruction. This seal isn't about perfection, it's about possession. It says, "This one belongs to me." The trials you've faced, the rejection you've endured, the fire you've walked through, they were not signs of abandonment, but of refinement. You are not common. You are not random. You are claimed. And while others chase after applause, approval, and possessions, you carry something far greater, the quiet authority of one who is known in heaven. So don't be discouraged by what you lack in the eyes of the world. You have something it can never give, the seal of the living God. And no enemy, no storm, no failure can erase what He has written over your life. You are marked. You are chosen. You are His. If you've seen yourself in even one of these marks, or maybe in all 7, then it's time to stop doubting who you are. You are marked by heaven. This is your moment, your invitation to walk boldly into purpose. You've been sealed for something greater, and now it's time to answer the call. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for watching this message. If it spoke to your spirit, if it stirred something deep within you, don't let it stop here. Hit the subscribe button and join a growing community of believers who, like you, are hungry for truth, destined for purpose, and ready to live as the chosen. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are chosen, and your journey is just beginning.